Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening. Standing next to Whitebeard Pops, Kisame TSK said, the battle between Uchiha and Uchiha. Ha. Is this a destiny? Shizue next to Kisame, smiled and said, Sasuke meet a bad opponent. Standing behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, Kakashi Hatake muttered, Izumi Uchiha, it sounds familiar. Is this the girl I saved? Thinking back to the night of the Uchiha clan's extermination that day, Kakashi couldn't help but shudder. The terrifying power of Mangekyo Sharingan tortured him enough that night. If it weren't for Uzumaki Fuashi generously saving himself with blood, Kakashi might still be lying in Hidden Leaf Village Hospital. And the parties involved, Sasuke Uchiha and Izumi Uchiha. The 2 have already come to the arena. Sasuke-kun, I didn't expect my opponent to be you. I thought I would have a battle with the ninja of Hidden Mist Village. Izumi Uchiha was dressed in a very normal female ninja outfit, and the back of her clothes was embroidered with the emblem of the Uchiha clan. She also has a ninja sword around her waist. In addition to being good at fire-style ninjutsu and kunai throwing technique, the ninjas of the Uchiha clan are also quite good at Uchiha sword technique. Izumi Uchiha said, Sasuke-kun, I won't hold back. Good. Sasuke slowly took a deep breath, his eyes full of seriousness. Just right, I also want to see the power of 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Sasuke paused for a while, and continued, if I can't even defeat you, what qualifications do I have to kill that man? Izumi was taken aback, and the corners of her mouth raised. Very good, Sasuke-kun, let me see if you have made any progress recently. Start. With the examiner's order. Izumi Uchiha's pair of 3 Tomoe Sharingan opened instantly. Sasuke's pupils contracted. Without a word, he pulled out several shurikens from his ninja tools bag and threw them in all different directions. The next moment, Sasuke quickly shifted his position, drew out a kunai, and fiercely stabbed it into his own thigh. The intense pain caused the scene before Sasuke's eyes to suddenly change. He saw a sharp ninja blade getting closer and closer in his vision. The cold gleam of the blade's tip set off alarm bells in Sasuke. Sasuke's single Tomoe Sharingan also instantly activated, slowing down Izumi Uchiha's movements in his eyes. Sasuke quickly bent down and dodged the incoming blade, then swiftly jumped back to create distance from Izumi. Fire style, Great Fireball. During the jump, Sasuke had already formed the seal for the fire style, Great Fireball. The moment he landed, he spat out a fireball towards Izumi. Fire style, Great Fireball. Izumi Uchiha held a ninja blade in one hand and formed a seal with the other. 2 fireballs, one large and one small, collided on the stage. An intense explosion occurred immediately. The explosive shockwave from the 2 fire-style ninjutsus made everyone feel a hot wind blowing in their faces, causing many people's hair to flutter wildly. When the raging flames dissipated, a crater with a diameter of 3 meters appeared in the center of the final stage. The huge crater was covered with black burn marks. You're amazing. You've improved quickly, Sasuke-kun. Izumi Uchiha stood with her blade, exclaiming. You discovered my Genjutsu in an instant, then used the sensation of pain to break my Genjutsu. Your combat experience is very rich. Sasuke's thigh was bleeding. A faint pain kept coming. But Sasuke didn't care. Humphrey, if the Uchiha clan is defeated by Genjutsu, they don't deserve to be called Uchiha. Sasuke held 2 kunais in his hand, knowing that he couldn't always passively resolve Izumi Uchiha's moves. This time it was his turn to attack. Sasuke quickly rushed towards Izumi. He threw the kunai in his left hand directly, aiming for Izumi's throat. The kunai in his right hand didn't hesitate to slash towards Izumi's abdomen. Sasuke's attack speed was very fast. But in front of Izumi Uchiha's 3 Tomoe Sharingan, his speed was still too slow. Izumi Uchiha raised the ninja blade in her hand and blocked the kunai that Sasuke threw at her. Then she turned her wrist. The back of the ninja blade just hit the kunai that Sasuke slashed. Having resolved Sasuke's attack, Izumi Uchiha immediately showed her skilled Uchiha swordsmanship, forcing Sasuke to defend. During these days, not only Sasuke was training hard, Izumi was also training hard. The effort she put in was no less than Sasuke's. The sharp ninja blade cut a long slit in Sasuke's clothes, even his skin was cut with a thin wound. Fortunately, Sasuke dodged in time. The wound wasn't too deep. Sasuke's single Tomoe Sharingan was a bit unable to keep up with Izumi's speed. They exchanged blows more than 20 times in just half a minute. Sasuke could see that he was at a disadvantage. After all, he and Izumi Uchiha not only had an age difference. There was also a big gap in Sharingan. Such a big gap, it couldn't be made up with just half a month of special training. If it goes on like this, he might lose in a few seconds. Sasuke's brain was running at high speed. He exposed a flaw, allowing Izumi Uchiha to scratch his left rib with a sword. In this lightning and flint moment, he immediately tightened his left arm and clamped the blade of the ninja sword. Sasuke took the opportunity to grit his teeth and made a hard kick. Even if the girl didn't have that big bell, the bottom was also a very fragile place. Seeing this, Izumi immediately withdrew the ninja sword. Dodge this foot backwards. Sasuke also took this opportunity to distance himself from Izumi again. Fire-style Phoenix Fire technique. Sasuke jumped up, his hand sealed, and he spit out 5 groups of intense Hamura. Izumi Uchiha's 3 Tomoe Sharingan slowly rotated. She held the blade and slashed a fireball. After avoiding the second fireball, another fireball was slashed. But at this time, Izumi Uchiha found something wrong, and the corner of her eye instantly locked the ninja sword in her hand. She found that the blade of the ninja sword was covered with a piece of paper at some point. A thin piece of paper reads explosion. And this strange piece of paper has already burned half. Explosive dugs? Izumi Uchiha was slightly surprised. Phoenix Fire technique, is it to detonate this explosive dugs? Boom boom boom. In an instant, the explosive roar of explosive tags enveloped half of the ring. The violent wind caused by the explosion made Sasuke's face hurt. A broken ninja sword flew out of the explosion, deeply stuck in the ground next to Sasuke's foot. Ha, ha, ha. Sasuke gasped heavily. And Izumi Uchiha, who has 3 Tomoe Sharingan, has such a high-intensity battle. Just stick to it for such a short time. She is already exhausted. Half of her chakra was consumed. Is this Fugaku's child? In the audience, Hayashi Hyuga was a bit envious. His eldest son Itachi Uchiha is a rare genius in Hidden Leaf Village for many years, and his second son Sasuke Uchiha's talent seems to be not much inferior to Itachi Uchiha. Hayashi sighed and praised, Sasuke Uchiha, this child, whether it is combat skills or combat IQ, is very high. If I remember correctly, he should be the same age as Hinata? Speaking of this, Hayashi couldn't help but look at his daughter's back. Then he sighed slightly. Although Hinata has joined the Whitebeard Pirates, but Hayashi knows his daughter's talent very well. He thinks Hinata is not even half as good as Sasuke Uchiha. Even if you join the Whitebeard Pirates, so what? He believes that talent is innate, and it can't be changed no matter what. Explosive dugs? Shikamaru was chewing on a weed, and couldn't help but marvel, Sasuke used explosive tags on his family? He is too serious. It's just an exam. Itachi's younger brother. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Sasuke's small body, his old face couldn't see too much expression, so young, he awakened the single Tomoe Sharingan. But, that girl named Izumi Uchiha has 3 Tomoe Sharingan. A mere explosive tags, how could it defeat Uchiha with 3 Tomoe? Gorura. Whitebeard saw through everything and smiled slightly, my stupid son is too easy to relax. On the final stage, Sasuke was struggled to keep his Sharingan open. He first glanced at the broken ninja blade at his feet, then turned his gaze to the lingering dust. He tried to find Izumi Uchiha's figure, but he didn't notice any movement. Sasuke's face changed slightly, and he suddenly became a bit worried. Could it be Izumi? Did I go too far? Just as he was worried that Izumi Uchiha might be seriously injured by the explosion, or even in danger, Sasuke suddenly had a very bad feeling. Suddenly, a puff of white smoke burst out from the broken ninja blade at Sasuke's feet, attracting Sasuke's attention. An unscathed Izumi Uchiha appeared within arm's reach. At this moment, Sasuke's hair stood on end. Transformation jutsu? Sasuke was shocked, and instinctively tried to kick to the side. But Izumi Uchiha blocked his attack with one hand. Izumi's other hand pressed against Sasuke's head, followed by a powerful knee strike, directly hitting Sasuke's nose. Bang! With one blow, Sasuke's head was knocked back. His nose spurted out 2 clumps of bright red blood. Sasuke's brain was stunned for a moment. When he regained a bit of consciousness and opened his eyes to look forward, he found that Izumi Uchiha, who was close at hand, had already formed the seal for the fire style, Great Fireball. Darn it. At such a close distance, if I got hit by the fire style, Great Fireball. Sasuke didn't know if he could survive. But at this critical moment, Izumi Uchiha's hand gesture changed slightly, and 2 fingers gently poked Sasuke's forehead. Sasuke, who was already off balance from a knee strike and somewhat dazed, was knocked to the ground by 2 fingers. Sasuke sat on the ground, hurriedly covering his bleeding nose. The sour pain in his nose made his eyes well up with tears. Izumi Uchiha's crisp and pleasant voice, with a hint of gratified laughter, said, "Sasuke-kun, you've improved really fast. At first, I didn't notice that you had stuck an explosive tag on my ninja blade. If the explosive tag was hidden a little better, I might have been caught off guard." Sasuke, sitting on the ground, remained silent. He knew early on that he was no match for Izumi Uchiha. But he didn't expect to lose so cleanly. He didn't expect the gap between the two to be so big. Is there an insurmountable gap between the 3 Tomoe Sharingan and a single Tomoe Sharingan? Sasuke was a bit unwilling to accept it. But there was no way. Defeat is defeat. Sasuke wiped his nosebleed forcefully, stood up, and looked seriously at Izumi Uchiha in front of him. The unwillingness and loss in his eyes had dissipated, replaced by a strong fighting spirit and competitiveness. "I lost to you today, but one day, I will have a power stronger than yours, and then I will defeat you." Izumi's smile grew wider. She extended a hand and encouraged, "If Sasuke-kun wants to surpass me, then you need to put in a lot of effort, and absolutely can't be lazy." TCH, who would be lazy? Sasuke also extended a hand, and made a reconciliation sign with Izumi Uchiha. Sasuke Uchiha loses. Izumi Uchiha wins. The examiner's voice followed. When Sasuke was going back with his nose covered, a hand was placed on his shoulder. As soon as Sasuke turned his head, he saw Naruto's big laughing face. "Haha, you were great just now." Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke hooked their shoulders. "Not great at all." Sasuke rolled his eyes. "Have you ever seen a defeated greatness?" "I'm serious." Naruto grinned. "Don't you think that you are now, compared to half a month ago, much stronger? If you were half a month ago, Izumi might be able to defeat you in 2 seconds. Pops said that people can't always compare with others. Sometimes. You also have to compare with yourself a day ago, a week ago, a month ago." Sasuke was stunned. He tried to recall according to the way Naruto said. Sasuke found that Naruto made a lot of sense. Indeed. He is now much stronger than he was half a month ago. He can instantly destroy Genjutsu of 3 Tomoe Sharingan, and it can counterattack at the first time. And he was only a little bit close to defeating Izumi Uchiha. Such progress is not ordinary. Sasuke couldn't help but hold his small fist with a few scratches. He lowered his head to look at his fist. Sasuke's mouth corner drew an arc, the gloomy mood in his heart dissipated, and he affirmed word by word, "That guy is definitely not as good as me at my age." He was referring to Itachi Uchiha at the age of 7. Just at this time. Next. Hidden Grass Village Naruto Uzumaki vs Hidden Mist Village Chojuro. The broadcast sound echoing the finals field sounded again. Sasuke couldn't help but put his eyes on Naruto again. "Naruto, it's your turn so soon?" Then, Sasuke looked at the group of Hidden Mist Village ninjas. "Chojuro seems to be the one with blue hair, right?" Naruto also looked at Chojuro. He said, "He is a very powerful guy." "Huh? He is powerful?" Sasuke looked at Chojuro. He found that this guy was thin and weak, and the whole person didn't seem to have any momentum. Naruto nodded and said, "Eyes may deceive me, but my observation haki will not deceive me." On the Hidden Mist Village side. A Hidden Mist Village genin poked Chojuro's arm. "Chojuro, your opponent is Naruto-sama, you better secretly. Cough, you know what I mean, right?" Chojuro looked up at this companion. He was puzzled, but Naruto-sama just told us not to hold back, let us go all out. Hidden Mist Village genin interrupted Chojuro, "Be flexible. Naruto-sama is the captain of the first division of the Whitebeard Pirates." Chojuro thought for a while. He shook his head. "Naruto-sama said let me go all out, then I must go all out. Why are you so stubborn?" Hidden Mist Village genin was speechless. They were whispering, but they didn't know that Naruto heard all their words. Naruto was suddenly interested. "Chojuro is interesting, he has principles, I am a little interested in him." Half a minute later. Naruto and Chojuro both came to the arena. Naruto stood on the south side of the arena. Chojuro is on the north side of the arena. The distance between the two is about 20 meters, and the two are looking at each other across the air. Many people in the village know Naruto, and they immediately became energetic when they saw Naruto on stage in the audience. "This kid is a demon. Cough. Cough cough. A Hidden Leaf Village ninja kept coughing, and quickly corrected himself. Is he the son of the fourth Hokage? Just like the fourth Hokage, he has a head of conspicuous golden hair. Hinata plucked up her courage, her face flushed, and she shouted at Naruto, Naruto-kun, fighting. Maitro Mummy's eyebrows furrowed slightly, a match between the prodigy of Hidden Mist Village and the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? Saratobi Hiruzen's expression was extremely complex. Naruto. Saratobi Hiruzen felt a slight pain in his face. The 3 punches Naruto gave him really messed him up. It wasn't until a few days ago that Saratobi Hiruzen unwrapped the bandages. If you look closely at his face, you will find that there are still some bruises on Saratobi Hiruzen's face that have not faded. And he, as the Hokage, was being conspired against by the entire village. Saratobi Hiruzen felt that Naruto should bear this sin. If Naruto hadn't revealed everything about his life in front of so many people, this wouldn't have happened. Saratobi Hiruzen clenched his fist. He was very dissatisfied with Naruto. Even though he treated Naruto as the son of the Hokage with very good treatment. But Naruto treated him like this. Hey! Suddenly, Whitebeard's voice sounded next to Saratobi Hiruzen. You, bad Hokage, do you want to touch my stupid son? You have a lot of guts. Saratobi Hiruzen. What's going on? How did Whitebeard know about my emotional fluctuations? Chapter 217, The Winner Naruto. Whitebeard, you coward, are worthy of being Hokage? Whitebeard. Cough. I absolutely didn't mean that. I have always regarded Naruto as the best child in the village. How could I have any improper thoughts about him? Saratobi Hiruzen was already sweating coldly. Just a glance from Whitebeard made him feel like sitting on pins and needles. He didn't know how Whitebeard caught his emotional fluctuations. The Whitebeard in front of him seemed to have the ability to read minds. Saratobi Hiruzen quickly reined in his emotions, and then put on a somewhat humble smile on his face. He didn't dare to think about any negative things in his mind. He was even more worried that Whitebeard would suddenly flip the table and start a fight. Saratobi Hiruzen's smile on his face became especially pleasing because of the fear in his heart. Yes. It's hard to imagine that a Hokage's face would show such a smile. The wrinkles on his face and the unhealed bruises. Combined, they were almost wrinkled into a chrysanthemum. Gorara. Whitebeard sneered, if you are like this, are you worthy of being the Hokage of Hidden Leaf Village? Whitebeard looked down on Saratobi Hiruzen. If Saratobi Hiruzen dared to confront him directly, he would still look up to him. Unfortunately, this guy is a thick-skinned politician. Whitebeard knows that Saratobi Hiruzen had a title of a ninja hero when he was young, but does he really count as a ninja hero? On the sea, the most timid and shameless pirate is nothing more than this. Whitebeard glanced at Saratobi Hiruzen with a contemptuous look, and then refocused his gaze on the ring of the finals. Saratobi Hiruzen was relieved. He felt that his back was soaked with cold sweat. The pressure Whitebeard gave him with a look. It's no less than someone sticking a burning explosive tags on every inch of his body. The Hidden Leaf Village examiner on the ring looked at Naruto on the left and Chojuro on the right, and he shouted at these 2 people, please make a pair of opposing seals. When Naruto and Chojuro made an opposing seal together, the examiner retreated to the edge of the ring while shouting, start. Chojuro carried a ninja sword that was almost taller than himself. He is not yet the successor of the 7 ninja swordsmen. When the examiner said the word start, Chojuro immediately pulled out the ninja sword. He didn't say a word, and seemed a bit silent or introverted. Water-style Hidden Mist Village water clone jutsu. Chojuro inserted the ninja sword into the ground, and his hands quickly sealed. Suddenly, his body was divided into 2 into 4, and his body began to diffuse layers of fog. Each group of fog has a diameter of 2 meters, which means that Chojuro and his 3 clones are each covered by a thick fog with a diameter of 2 meters. The next moment, the 4 groups of thick fog dispersed to different angles and appeared in the 4 directions of Naruto's front, back, left, and right. Hidden Mist Village Sword Technique. Hidden Mist Village 4 Body Kill. 4 groups of thick fog quickly approached Naruto. In theory, since it is a clone jutsu, the observation haki should only feel a threat from one direction. But strangely, Naruto felt a sense of threat from 4 different directions. Could it be that all 3 clones have entities? Naruto raised his eyebrows. I have some impressions. It seems to be the water clone mentioned by Uncle Kisame. Naruto remembered that Hoshigaki Kisame once told him that the water clone of Hidden Mist Village is physical and can inherit part of the power of the body. Naruto decisively took out 4 shurikens and threw them in 4 different directions. Sure enough, I heard 4 ding metal collisions. All 4 shurikens were blocked by the other party. Also at this moment, the 4 groups of thick fog have already approached Naruto, and the edge of the thick fog has touched Naruto's skin. The fog was so dense that as soon as it touched Naruto's skin hair condensed a few drops of small water droplets. At the moment of crisis, Naruto actually closed his eyes. A ninja sword drilled out of the thick fog and went straight to Naruto's ankle. The second ninja sword attacked from the thick fog and went straight to Naruto's back. The third ninja sword is the same, going straight to Naruto's throat. The fourth ninja sword, from top to bottom, slashed hard at Naruto. 4 ninja swords attacked Naruto at the same time with point, stab, lift, and slash. When the ninja sword was only 10 centimeters away from Naruto's skin, Naruto suddenly raised his leg with a thunderous speed, and the sword that went to the ankle directly fell through. He dodged a knife from behind as if he had eyes on his back. Then he raised his hand to grab his throat, and a ninja sword was pinched between his fingers, and the tip of the ninja sword was only half a centimeter away from his throat. Naruto's strange power was fully demonstrated at this moment. He snatched the ninja blade with just 3 fingers, and quickly placed the ninja blade over his head. Clang! The harsh sound of metal colliding, a spark burst out, and in just 1 second, Naruto dodged 4 attacks. Found you. Naruto, holding the ninja blade, was about to swing it when suddenly, the Chunin blade in his hand turned into a puddle of water. This swing, other than throwing out the water in his hand, had no attack power at all. Wind style, great breakthrough. Seeing this, Naruto directly formed a seal with both hands and used a wind style ninjutsu. The chakra inside his body surged towards this ninjutsu, and as Naruto blew forward, a raging wind swept in all directions, instantly dispersing the thick fog. Chojuro and his 3 water clones all appeared in front of Naruto, as well as all the people in the audience. But the power of this ninjutsu is not limited to this. The entire stage began to be filled with flying sand and rocks, and the gusty wind made Chojuro's skin ache. Chojuro's small body was even blown back by the strong wind. Just as his body was about to be blown away, Chojuro deeply stabbed a blade into the ground, firmly nailing his body to the ground. The other 3 water clones, under the howling wind, turned into 3 streams of water and were blown away by the wind. A group of people in the audience were also affected by the ninjutsu. They felt as if they were facing a raging typhoon. Some Hidden Leaf Village civilians were scared and hurriedly grabbed their seats, exclaiming in surprise. Even some Hidden Leaf Village genin quickly grabbed the surrounding fixed objects to avoid being blown away. Great breakthrough. This ninjutsu is like this: as long as your chakra is enough, even if you're only a genin, you can use a wind-style ninjutsu that is not inferior to the elite Jonin level. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 3rd Hokage, couldn't help but stretch out a hand to hold down his Hokage hat. His gaze fell on Naruto's small body, and his eyes were full of shock. Without borrowing the power of the tailed beast, he has such chakra. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not feel any power related to the 9 tails from Naruto's ninjutsu chakra fluctuations. That is to say, Naruto simply used the chakra contained in his body to use a wind-style ninjutsu with such a large range. Minato, you have a good son. Sarutobi Hiruzen had the heart to regret hitting the wall. If this child could establish a deep bond with him, he felt that he could definitely train Naruto to become the next Hokage. But there was no way. 1 step wrong, every step wrong. The bond between him and Naruto has been completely severed. There is no possibility of making up for it. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but sneak a glance at Whitebeard next to him, and found that Whitebeard was as steady as a rock in the howling wind. Only the large cloak behind him and the 2 crescent beards were slightly fluttering. Whitebeard was in a very good mood because he saw the significant progress of his stupid sons and daughters today. What a big win. If you accidentally enter the calm belt while sailing on the sea in the future, you can let this stupid son blow the sails. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr that, when sailing on the sea, if there's an ninja constantly blowing wind at the sails, so the speed of his ship would be very fast. Saratobe Hiruzen found that Whitebeard, this pirate's thinking, is a bit different from his own as a ninja. He was thinking about whether he could train Naruto to be a very powerful ninja. Whitebeard was thinking about letting Naruto steer the ship. Naruto has progressed too fast, hasn't he? Kakashi behind him was amazed. He witnessed Naruto, a child who didn't know how to extract chakra, grow step by step into his current strength. How long has it been during this period? Not even 2 years. Really, as Whitebeard said. As long as you put in 200 times the effort of ordinary people, you only need a short 2 years to grow to a very amazing stage. This is too outrageous. Kakashi recalled, when he was Naruto's age, could he have 1/10 of Naruto's strength? Hoshigaki Kisame was a little surprised. Naruto is already so powerful. The last time he fought with me, he used wind-style great breakthrough, and he was borrowing the power of the tailed beast, which was comparable to the current power. Now he doesn't even need to borrow the power of the nine tails, he can use the wind-style ninjutsu comparable to that year. Maybe give him a few more years of growth, without relying on the tailed beast, he can have the power of an elite Jonin. Kisame rarely praises a person as powerful. People who are praised by him, not only have strong strength, but also have absolutely exaggerated talent. Sasuke, who is receiving treatment from a medical ninja, is being bandaged by a medical ninja while watching the battle between Naruto and Chojuro. Sasuke was a bit shocked. Did Naruto not use half of his strength when he was practicing with me? Is this his real strength? On the finals stage, the visible gale shocked Sasuke. No wonder Izumi Uchiha also regarded Naruto as a very tricky opponent. Naruto really has the strength to touch 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Naruto Uzumaki. Neji Hyuga stretched out a hand to block the wind blowing in front of him. The other hand is tightly holding the seat under his butt. He is obviously a year younger than me, but he has already become so strong. Hoa. My chips. Chaji looked at his chips being blown away by the wind with tears streaming down his face. Woo woo woo, when Naruto's Chunin exam is over, I will let him invite me to eat a barbecue, to compensate for my chips. Woo woo woo. Stupid Chaji, don't move around, quickly block in front of me. Shikamaru hid behind Chaji. With the help of Chaji's blockage, he blocked the surging wind. The gale swept for more than 20 seconds before it finally stopped, and the entire finals field looked a mess. Many people's hair were changed into a bird nests, some relatively fragile facilities were destroyed by the gale, and even the big screen above was hit by flying stones and several cracks. Chojuro pulled the ninja blade from the ground, and he, who was holding the sword with one hand, had a very serious and solemn expression. Naruto stood up straight, he didn't seem to have much consumption. The complexion is as always rosy and healthy. It seems to him that consuming so much chakra is nothing at all. You're great. Chojuro. Naruto grinned, gave Chojuro a thumbs up. You are really not simple, you are a very tricky opponent. Chojuro didn't speak, his hand hidden behind him was quietly sealing. As a genius of Hidden Mist Village, Chojuro naturally has this unique skill of single-handed seal. The next second, Chojuro stretched his hand behind his mouth, water-style double water fang bullet. 2 streams of water continuously spurted out of Chojuro's mouth. Both groups of water flow flew forward in a spiral and fast-rotating form. The speed was comparable to a kunai thrown with all his might. Naruto's eyes narrowed slightly, he didn't pull out any weapons from his ninja tools bag. Just right to see how far my armament haki, which I've been practicing hard for the past half-month, has grown. Naruto's right fist clenched instantly, his fist was wrapped and hardened by armament haki. He actually swung a bare fist forward. The flesh and blood body collided with a water fang bullet in an unprecedented fierce collision. A large amount of water splashed in all directions. The strong impact of the water fang bullet made Naruto take a step back. The next second, another water fang bullet was also pressing Naruto at close range. Naruto quickly blocked in front of him with his left hand. Armament haki wrapped around his forearm. The water fang bullet hit Naruto's forearm, pushing him back a few steps again. Naruto's body was all washed wet by the 2 streams of water. His golden hair also drooped down. But what was shocking was, apart from that, there was no change in his body. Naruto, who had taken 2 water fang bullets with his bare hands, didn't even have a small cut on his skin. Chojuro's eyebrows furrowed. He was a bit puzzled, his face finally changed. Chojuro knew the power of his ninjutsu. If 2 water fang bullets go down, even a 2-story small house would be destroyed into ruins. To block this ninjutsu, at least a thick metal shield is needed, right? But what Chojuro didn't expect was that the adult Naruto in front of him just used a fist and an arm to block it. It still hurts a bit. Naruto rubbed his forearm, he smiled at Chojuro. You are really powerful, you almost hurt me. Chojuro. Naruto suddenly opened one hand. Now it's my turn, right? ZZ only to see Naruto's palm, a deep blue round ball slowly emerged. Danger. Extreme danger. Seeing this deep blue ball for a moment, Chojuro's body hair stood up. But before Chojuro could react, Naruto's figure instantly disappeared from the spot. By the time Chojuro reacted, Naruto had already appeared in front of him. The distance between the two was less than 2 meters. Naruto took a big step forward, and decisively pushed out the ball in his hand. The glow of the Rasengan made Chojuro's face somewhat blue. And it made his pupils suddenly contract. Water-style water fang blade. Chojuro never thought that one day his seal speed could be so fast. At this moment of extreme crisis, he burst out with amazing potential. The ninja blade in his hand was instantly enveloped by a stream of water. The stream of water enveloping the ninja blade spun rapidly. Chojuro shouted loudly, the veins on his forearm were exposed, he swung the ninja blade horizontally with his hand. The water-wrapped ninja blade collided fiercely with the Rasengan in Naruto's hand. Boom boom boom. The moment the ninja blade and the Rasengan touched, Chojuro regretted it. Because he realized that he had made a wrong decision and judgment. The powerful twisting and rotating impact of the Rasengan forcibly scattered the water fang blade ninjutsu wrapped around the ninja blade. Under Chojuro's wide-eyed gaze, the ninja blade in his hand was twisting, and cracks appeared on the blade. The alloy-forged ninja blade only lasted for 2 seconds. Only heard a crack, the ninja blade in his hand broke as it should, and several fragments even stuck in Chojuro's body. In Chojuro's sight, the Rasengan in Naruto's hand did not lose its momentum, and it was getting closer and closer to his body. Chojuro's gaze was a bit divergent. He knew that at such a close distance, he could not escape. If he chose to dodge at the beginning, instead of choosing to fight hard, he might be able to dodge this hit. But since he made a wrong decision, he had to bear the consequences and costs of the wrong decision. Not good. The examiners of Hidden Leaf Village suddenly changed their faces. Just as they wanted to rush forward to save Chojuro. Just when the Rasengan was only 1 centimeter away from Chojuro's nose. Naruto's action suddenly paused. But this blow still stirred up a terrifying airflow, and still knocked Chojuro out. Chojuro felt like he was being punched in the face. He flew back more than 10 meters. Hit the edge of the ring. Bang. Pua. Cough cough cough. Chojuro spit out a mouthful of blood, and the whole person was kneeling on one knee. In addition to the wounds pierced by the broken blade, there were also bruises and abrasions on the wall, and several bones in his body were broken. Chojuro wanted to stand up, but found that he couldn't stand up at all. Every action can involve the wound on the body. It can also involve broken bones in the body. The intense pain made Chojuro's forehead sweat profusely. He finally spoke, "I lost. Ha ha ha. It seems that I am still better." The Rasengan in Naruto's hand gradually dissipated. He directly grinned at all the people in the audience, and shouted before the examiners spoke, "Remember. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki, the captain of the 1st Division of the Whitebeard Pirates." Ha 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 ha. Chapter 218, Naruto Uzumaki, does the 3rd Hokage dare to refute Pops? The next 4 duels lasted a full 2 hours. Because among the remaining 8 people, 7 are ninjas from Hidden Mist Village, and 1 is a ninja from Hidden Leaf Village. Their common point is that everyone's level is not much different. They can't crush the enemy instantly. This led to these 4 duels. 8 people are almost evenly matched. Each duel lasted at least half an hour. It also allowed the spectators, especially those civilians in Hidden Leaf Village, to have a good eye addiction. In the end, among the 14 candidates, the ones who stood out are Naruto Uzumaki, Izumi Uchiha, Haku, In Yuzuko Hana, Kawagawa Tatsuki, Eben Arashi, Sakuragi Sakaki. There are 2 Hidden Grass Village Geinin, 2 Hidden Leaf Village Geinin, 3 Hidden Mist Village Geinin. But the 3rd round of the Chunin exam did not end because of the advancement of 7 people, because the ultimate goal of the 3rd round of the exam is to decide a unique winner. But because 7 people are an odd number, they must draw lots to take a bye. Coincidentally, Naruto looked at the blank piece of paper in his hand and muttered, "Why am I so lucky at this time?" Then, Naruto leaned over to Haku, looked at the paper in Haku's hand, and said, "Haku, should we swap?" Cough cough. A Jonin examiner from Hidden Leaf Village coughed a few times behind Naruto. The drawn papers cannot be exchanged at will. Naruto Uzumaki, the Chunin exam also needs to follow some rules. Can't exchange? So stingy. Naruto muttered. But he didn't make it difficult for the examiner. Naruto put his hands behind his head, and said to Haku and Izumi Uchiha, "Then I'll watch you guys fight another round with Sasuke." On the side, in Yuzuko Hana, who looked a bit embarrassed, had a crying face. "Why am I not the one who gets a free draw? I just finished a battle, and have to start a new one. Can't I rest for a while?" The Jonin examiner from Hidden Leaf Village glanced at her. He said expressionlessly, "On the real battlefield of the ninja world, your enemies won't give you time to rest. Most of the time. Just after you've dealt with a wave of enemies, another wave comes. The original intention of the 3rd round of the Chunin exam is to let you get the experience of a little war in the ninja world. If we give you time to rest, it would be better to change the content of the exam." In Yuzuko Hana was speechless. About 10 minutes passed. The match began. The first battle was quite dramatic, because it was in Yuzuko Hana versus Izumi Uchiha. These 2 girls were classmates when they were in ninja school. They were promoted to Geinin in the same year, and after being promoted to Geinin, they were assigned to the same guiding Jonin. A series of coincidences made them become a pair of good girlfriends. The day after the Uchiha clan was annihilated, In Yuzuko Hana specifically found Izumi Uchiha and comforted her. "You know, at that time, Many people in the village didn't want to get involved with the Uchiha clan. To avoid attracting Itachi Uchiha, the madman. It can be seen that the friendship between the two of them is indeed not shallow. Seeing the words displayed on the big screen, Inuzuka Hana's crying face became even harder to hold back. I'm fighting Izumi? Inuzuka Hana couldn't help but look at Izumi Uchiha. She is very clear about how terrifying this girlfriend of hers is. Even if she and 3 ninja dogs go together, she is not Izumi's opponent. But there's no way. Since she was arranged to fight Izumi Uchiha, Inuzuka Hana could only take a deep breath, take her 3 ninja dogs, and walk back to the stage. Izumi Uchiha also walked slowly on the arena. The 2 people and 3 dogs were 10 meters apart. They faced each other. Izumi, don't beat me too badly. Inuzuka Hana was almost in tears. Please, please don't hit my face. Don't belittle yourself, Hana. Izumi smiled slightly. I know you are also very strong. Inuzuka Hana's mouth twitched. If I were strong, I wouldn't be so nervous. Woof woof woof. X3 start. With a loud shout from the Hidden Leaf village examiner. The pair of girlfriends who had just formed a confrontation immediately met with swords. Inuzuka Hana knew very well that she was unlikely to be Izumi's opponent. So Inuzuka Hana chose to take the initiative. Seize the initiative of the attack. Strive for a glimmer of opportunity. She didn't probe Izumi Uchiha, because both sides knew each other well, there was no need to probe. The hesitation and nervous expression on Inuzuka Hana's face dissipated. What replaced it was the perseverance and determination that a ninja should have. She immediately whispered, pill number 1. Pill number 2. Pill number 3. Inuzuka Hana took out 3 soldier pills from her ninja tools bag. Although the 3rd round of the Chunin exam prohibits the use of banned drugs, obviously, soldier pills are not considered banned drugs. All 3 of her ninja dogs swallowed a soldier pill. In just a second, the size of the 3 ninja dogs began to grow larger and larger. They actually became almost as big as 3 war horses. Ninja Art 4 Legs Technique. Inuzuka Hana's limbs each surged with a visible ball of chakra, and she lay on the ground on all 4s like an animal. Ninja Art Beast Mimicry. With a bang, Inuzuka Hana instantly split into 3. Her 3 clones became almost identical to the ninja dogs. The 3 Inuzuka Hana and the 3 ninja dogs stood side by side, opened their dog mouths and spoke human words. Izumi, this is a ninjutsu I secretly created. I know you have seen many of my ninjutsu and have ways to crack them, but you have definitely not seen this ninjutsu. I named this ninjutsu Inuzuka-style secret technique meat grinder 6 consecutive shots. Instantly, the limbs of the 6 ninja dogs simultaneously kicked the ground and rushed towards Izumi Uchiha. During the fierce sprint, the 6 ninja dogs twisted their bodies together, like 6 huge drills. Wherever they went, they were invincible. The crazy spinning stirred up a torrent of airflow, even tearing the ground under their feet. The arena was also stirred up by the 6 ninja dogs. Let Izumi Uchiha's long hair keep fluttering. You're too slow, Hana. Although it is indeed a ninjutsu I have never seen before, in front of my eyes, all actions are slowed down. Izumi Uchiha's 3 Tomoe Sharingan activated. Ever since awakening the 3 Tomoe Sharingan, she always felt that the amount of chakra in her body had surged a lot. In the past, even if she opened a single Tomoe Sharingan, she would be exhausted once. Now even if she activates the 3 Tomoe Sharingan, for Izumi Uchiha, she can open it several times a day. And in her sight, whether it is Inuzuka Hana's ninja dog, or the ninja dog that Inuzuka Hana has become, the speed has slowed to an extreme. Just a glance, she saw a lot of flaws. Also realized that this new ninjutsu developed by her best friend is not mature. Izumi Uchiha quickly jumped backwards and upwards. She did not pull out a ninja sword, but quickly sealed with both hands, fire-style Phoenix Fire Chloride. When she spit out a ball of flame from her mouth, she quickly took out a full 6 kunai from the ninja tools bag. And without hesitation, she threw the kunai at the spouting flames. Kunai and flames merged into one. The kunai wrapped in surging flames went straight to Inuzuka Hana and her ninja dogs. Izumi Uchiha's actions did not stop. When she landed on the ground, the action of sealing in her hand changed. Fire style, majestic flame annihilation. This time, what she spit out from her mouth was not a ball of flame, but a terrifying sea of fire that was surging and majestic. The 6 flame kunai flying out of the Phoenix Fire Chloride ninjutsu accurately hit Inuzuka Hana and her ninja dogs. First there were 2 bangs, and the 2 clones of Inuzuka Hana turned into smoke and disappeared. Then came the screams of the ninja dogs. The 3 ninja dogs that were spinning crazily, at the same time hurriedly stopped the spinning action. 3 kunai hit their bodies. The flames entwined on the kunai even burned their fur. Scared the 3 ninja dogs who were not very old, They hurriedly rolled on the ground, trying to extinguish the flames on their bodies. The last kunai also scratched in Yuzuko Hana's body. The kunai gently scratched her arm, taking away a clot of blood at the same time. It also cauterized her wound. In the blink of an eye, only Yuzuko Hana was left. And, the next second, what greeted her was Izumi Uchiha's fire style, fire annihilation. Yuzuko Hana, who was charging recklessly, couldn't dodge at all and crashed headlong into the surging sea of fire. Yuzuko Hana didn't crash into Izumi Uchiha in the center of the sea of fire as she wished, but instead crashed into the edge of the stage, knocking out a large hole in the edge wall. Ouch! It's hot, 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 hot. Yuzuko Hana's transformation jutsu was forcibly dispelled, and she, who had returned to her human form, covered her head and screamed in shock. Because her hair was on fire. Water style, water palm wave. Izumi Uchiha aimed at Yuzuko Hana's head with one hand, and a stream of water emerged from the palm of her hand and sprinkled on Yuzuko Hana's head. Izumi is not good at water-style ninjutsu. Being able to use a water-style ninjutsu like a water gun is because she was anxious to save her girlfriend. The burning hair of Yuzuko Hana was quickly extinguished by the water flow. But the hair was burned by the flame for several seconds, and the original waist-length hair had been burned short by more than half. Darn it, did I lose so simply? Was my newly created ninjutsu seen through like this? And, my hair. Yuzuko Hana rubbed her hot scalp. Fortunately, the flame was extinguished in time, otherwise. Hiss. Yuzuko Hana couldn't help but shudder. She didn't want to become a bald woman. Then, Yuzuko Hana quickly looked at her 3 ninja dogs. She found that the places where the ninja dogs were hit by the kunai were not vital parts. The kunai didn't stab very deep. Yuzuko Hana breathed a sigh of relief again. It seems that her girlfriend was very measured in her shots. But after all, this is a battle, and it is inevitable to get hurt. Yuzuko Hana didn't resent Izumi Uchiha, she was just annoyed that she was a little bad. Just then, a figure appeared in front of her, and a fair hand reached out. Yuzuko Hana was taken aback, looked up, and found it was Izumi Uchiha. Yuzuko Hana grabbed Izumi's palm. Izumi pulled Yuzuko Hana up. Izumi Uchiha asked with concern. Hana, are you okay? Your hair, the wound on your arm. Ah. Oh. Yuzuko Hana waved her hand nonchalantly and said. Although my arm hurts a bit, it can be healed by a medical ninja. As for my hair, it will grow back in half a year. Yuzuko Hana thought for a while. She continued to speak to Izumi Uchiha. Izumi, don't feel guilty at all. This is a battle between ninjas. Getting hurt is a common thing for ninjas. But. Yuzuko Hana's embarrassed little face grinned. You must give me some compensation, right? The food expenses for my Himaru brothers this month. It's on me. Izumi smiled slightly, preempting what Yuzuko Hana wanted to say. Soon. The Hidden Leaf Village examiner also shouted loudly at this time. The winner of this round. Izumi Uchiha from Hidden Leaf Village. My sister actually lost to this woman. Yuzuka Kiba, who had taken all this in, found it hard to accept. In Yuzuka Kiba's heart, his sister is a genius girl of the Yuzuka clan. Whether it's his father or mother, or some of the elders in the family, they have all praised his sister for being excellent. His father even said that his sister, Yuzuka Kiba, will definitely grow into a jonin of Hidden Leaf Village one day. When he was in the family, he was always the loser when he fought against his sister. But Yuzuka Kiba didn't expect that his sister would lose so simply when she fought against Izumi Uchiha. He hadn't even reacted yet. And found that Yuzuko Hana had already lost. Because this is the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. The guy who loves to show off. The Uchiha clan is not as easy to deal with as you think. It's normal for your sister to lose so quickly. Shikamaru's sharp tongue sounded from the side. Damn it. Yuzuka Kiba gritted his teeth. Isn't it just the Uchiha's Sharingan? One day, I will defeat an Uchiha to prove that our Yuzuka clan is not inferior to the Uchiha clan. 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Hayashi Hyuga, who was sitting behind, the blue veins on the corner of his eyes gradually disappeared, an Uchiha girl with high talent. Among the Uchiha clan today, besides Shizue Uchiha, she should be the strongest of the Uchiha, right? She, probably awakened the 3 Tomoe Sharingan that night. Kakashi murmured to himself, seeing Itachi Uchiha kill so many clan ninjas and civilians with his own eyes. Ah! Is this the curse entwined in this power? Kakashi sighed. The price of awakening the 3 Tomoe Sharingan is really too great. Thinking of this, Kakashi couldn't help but touch the 3 Tomoe Sharingan hidden in his forehead protector. He remembered a friend. So powerful. Sasuke's wound has been bandaged by the medical ninja. He clenched his fist tightly. If I were that Yuzuko Hana, I wouldn't be able to take these 2 moves either. But Sasuke was not discouraged. Because he thinks Izumi Uchiha can awaken the three Tomoe Sharingan. Why can't he? One day he will also awaken the three Tomoe. Even awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. The concept of Mangekyo Sharingan was heard by Sasuke a few days ago from Shizue Uchiha. He also knows that Itachi Uchiha has one of Shizue's Mangekyo Sharingan. Letting a child with three Tomoe Sharingan be a genin of Hidden Leaf Village is really a waste. Sarutobi Hiruzen pondered, just having three Tomoe can be a special jonin. The problem is, Izumi Uchiha has an inseparable relationship with the Whitebeard pirates. She is Whitebeard's adopted daughter. This makes Sarutobi Hiruzen very headache. What's so good about Whitebeard? Whitebeard doesn't even know ninjutsu, he can't teach anyone ninjutsu. Why do the talented children in the village, one after another, recognize Whitebeard as their father? Just because Whitebeard can protect them? But isn't he, the third Hokage, also able to protect them? A few minutes later, Inuzuka Hana and her three injured ninja dogs were all taken away by Hidden Leaf Village medical ninjas. The next one is a battle between Haku and a ninja from Hidden Mist Village. There is no suspense in this battle. Because among the 9 genin of Hidden Mist Village, the strongest is Chojuro. But Chojuro has already been defeated by Naruto. The remaining few genin of Hidden Mist Village are not bad, but they are a bit worse compared to Haku. This battle ended very quickly. Haku only took half a minute to defeat this genin of Hidden Mist Village, and even froze the opponent into an ice sculpture. The medical ninja who ran over had no choice but to use fire style to melt the ice first, then carry away the frostbitten Hidden Mist Village ninja. The last match was an internal battle between 2 Hidden Mist Village ninjas. It ended with a narrow victory for Sakuragi Sakaki. At this moment, it was already noon. Out of the 14 genin, only 4 remained: Naruto Uzumaki, Izumi Uchiha, Haku, and Sakuragi Sakaki. The Hidden Mist Village genin named Sakuragi Sakaki first looked at Naruto in front of him, then at Izumi on his left, and finally at Haku on his right. He couldn't help but swallow in fear. Examiner. Sakuragi Kaizashi was a bit scared. I give up. Reason? The Jonin examiner from Hidden Leaf Village frowned and asked, do you know? If you win one more match, you will enter the finals, and you have a high probability of winning the championship. Sakuragi Sakaki was on the verge of tears. The bloodthirsty aura of the Hidden Mist Village ninja had been worn down in the continuous battles. He explained with helpless bitterness, when I was fighting that person just now, the chakra in my body was already drained. You guys won't let me rest, how can I fight against the 3 genin? What he said was all true. The consumption of 2 consecutive battles made him sweat a lot, and both his physical strength and chakra had decreased. After pondering for 2 seconds, the Jonin examiner shouted loudly, Hidden Mist Village Sakuragi Sakaki forfeits. Naruto Uzumaki, Izumi Uchiha, and Haku, the 3 of you draw lots. His words were interrupted before he could finish. The one who interrupted him was Haku. Haku showed a bit of a smile and said, I think we don't need to draw lots for a bye, right? The Jonin examiner was stunned. What do you mean? Haku suggested with a smile, why not let the 3 of us go up to the stage for a brawl? Izumi Uchiha was interested. A brawl? Indeed, it's already noon, and we shouldn't waste too much time. Naruto clapped his hands. This proposal is very good. Uncle, let's go with this proposal. Jonin examiner. I need to ask Hokage-sama. If these 3 brats were just ordinary genin, he wouldn't even say this, he would decisively reject their proposal. But there's no helping it, who made these 3 brats pups is Whitebeard. Don't ask him. Naruto pouted, showing no interest in the 3rd, my pops is Whitebeard. Do you think the 3rd Hokage will reject this proposal? Pops will definitely support us. Do you think the 3rd Hokage dares to refute Pops? The Jonin examiner fell silent. It seems true. Chapter 219. Are these 3 really genin? Big Fox, lend me some strength. The final match. Hidden Grass Village genin Naruto Uzumaki vs Hidden Grass Village genin Haku vs Hidden Leaf Village genin Izumi Uchiha. The broadcast echoed throughout the final venue, making everyone stunned. The big screen above their heads also displayed the names of the 3 people. Many people thought that after a Hidden Mist Village genin chose to forfeit, the remaining 3 might need to draw lots for a bye. But they didn't expect that what they had imagined did not happen. The final round of the competition turned out to be a brawl between 3 people. As the organizer of this Chunin exam, Sarutobi Hiruzen's old face couldn't help but flash a look of astonishment. Because this is a bit different from the Chunin exam process he planned. Why would there be a situation of a 3-person fight? What were the examiners of this round of the Chunin exam thinking? Why did they act on their own? Why didn't they come and ask him, the Hokage? Why didn't they seek his opinion? In a short moment, Saratobe Hiruzen's mind flashed one doubt after another. His brows couldn't help but frown deeply, and his expression seemed a bit dissatisfied. This time, the Chunin exam held by Hidden Leaf Village has actually strayed far from Saratobe Hiruzen's original intention. His original intention was to show off Hidden Leaf Village's strength, to show all the ninja villages how powerful the younger generation of Hidden Leaf Villages. But after Naruto's intervention, his original intention was shattered. The entire Hidden Leaf Village only had 2 candidates enter the 3rd round, and now only one of these 2 candidates is left. The one left is still Whitebeard's adopted daughter. Is there anything more distressing than this? So, now Saratobe Hiruzen doesn't ask for much, he just hopes that the Chunin exam can go smoothly and go in the direction he wants. But such a simple idea. It turns out that it can't be done at all. If it were normal times, he would have stood up and then went to question the examiner. But now there is no way, there is a Whitebeard sitting next to him. Whitebeard doesn't stand up, Saratobe Hiruzen doesn't dare to stand up. Saratobe Hiruzen took a sneak peek at Whitebeard next to him, and found that Whitebeard still looked interested, and his posture was very relaxed. Only he, the Hokage, was sitting here like sitting on pins and needles. It can be said to be suffering. On the audience stand. A brawl? It's starting to get interesting. Shikamaru's hands were cushioned behind his head, and the small grass in his mouth had been chewed up unconsciously. Will there be a situation where one joins another, and then it becomes a 2-on-1 situation? Ino's palms were sweating slightly, and she began to worry about Haku. Haku, it's okay if you can't win, just don't get hurt. Neji Hyuga squinted his eyes. Perhaps only Naruto Uzumaki and Izumi Uchiha, these 2 people, can force out Haku's strongest strength? Inuzuka Kiba was envious and muttered, my sister has been eliminated, but Naruto and Haku, those 2 guys, actually entered the finals. How are they so powerful? Woof woof. Akamaru in his arms, followed by 2 barks. Hinata was in a dilemma, because whether it was Naruto, Izumi, or Haku, they were all Hinata's family. For a while, Hinata didn't know who she should support. After thinking about it for a long time, she finally said, Naruto, come on. I believe in you. Sure enough, unrequited love still takes the upper hand. Naruto. Iruka's expression was complicated. He had already seen the 3 contestants in the finals go to the ring. Haku. You 2 gave me a big surprise. Especially Haku, your progress is really great, so great. When the ninja school started, Iruka had fought with Haku. At that time, neither side actually won, because Haku chose to surrender at that time. But at that time, Iruka felt that he could definitely defeat Haku. But now it's not necessarily the case. Haku was able to easily defeat 2 Hidden Mist Village genin in a short time. This is enough to show that Haku's strength is much stronger than when the ninja school started, at least doubled. Even Iruka, who is already a Chunin, is not sure if he can defeat Haku. The main reason is that Haku's ice-style KK Genkai is a blind spot in many people's knowledge. They can't imagine what ninjutsu Haku will use, lacking information about ice style. In ninja battles, unless you can crush the opponent with overwhelming strength. Otherwise, if there is a slight lack of information, your side will definitely be at a disadvantage. Damn. 2 little kids of such a young age can actually get to this point. Mizuyuki's eyes are getting redder and more jealous. He can't help but look at Whitebeard on the high platform. But the next second, his gaze was suppressed by Whitebeard's momentum, and he was scared to not dare to look at Whitebeard for more than 3 seconds. If I call him Pops, he will definitely accept me as his son, right? After all, he even accepted the demon fox. Just at this time, the examiner on the stage shouted start with a complicated expression, and the final match of the 3rd round of the Chunin exam began. The noise in the audience also gradually quieted down. At the same time, Naruto Uzumaki, Izumi Uchiha, and Haku each tacitly formed an opposition seal. The gazes of the 3 people collided in midair, their positions just forming an isosceles triangle, each separated by no less than 10 meters. Haku has gently opened the buckle of the ninja tools bag, revealing neatly arranged shuriken, kunai, and even a few explosive tags from unknown sources. Izumi Uchiha used her white and jade-like thumb to hold the hilt of the ninja sword, and with a light push of her thumb, the cold light of the ninja sword slowly came out of its sheath. Naruto has already put his hands together. He did not use any ninja tools, and made a gesture that he was about to seal. A breeze gently brushed the arena of the final venue. Ah! My balloon! A little girl's exclamation came from the audience. A balloon was blown away by the wind and floated to the stage by coincidence. Under the gaze of the 3 people on the stage, the balloon slowly fell to the ground and made intimate contact with the kunai left from the last battle. Bang! It was also at the moment when the balloon burst. Haku took out 4 shuriken from the ninja tools bag at a speed that was too fast to cover his ears. With his hands open to the left and right, he threw 2 shuriken each to the left and right. The flying shuriken made a sharp whistling sound. Izumi Uchiha's ninja sword has completely left its sheath, and she raised her hand to cut down 2 shuriken. The red light of the Sharingan in her eyes was shining, and the Sharingan Ganjutsu was used by her in an instant. But I didn't expect Naruto to have expected it. Naruto's eyes were closed, and his eyes were no longer looking at Izumi Uchiha. When the 2 shuriken were close at hand, Naruto's last ninjutsu seal had been completed, wind style, great breakthrough. This ninjutsu has almost become Naruto's signature ninjutsu like the Rasengan. The main thing is, it's really useful. Naruto took a deep breath, opened his mouth to the front, and a gust of wind blew up. 2 shuriken collided with a wall of wind, directly solidifying in midair. The surging gale was not only aimed at Haku, but also at Izumi Uchiha. Ice-style dome ice house. Haku quickly slapped the ground with both hands, and a semicircular ice shield enveloped his entire body. The surging gale blew on the ice shield, causing the layer of frost on the surface of the ice shield to disperse, but it was not enough to destroy the ice shield. Although Haku did not close his eyes, he moved his gaze away and did not make eye contact with Izumi Uchiha's eyes. Earth-style earth flow wall. Izumi Uchiha's best ninjutsu is the fire-style and earth-style ninjutsu of the Uchiha clan. She slapped the ground with one palm, and a thick earth wall rose from the ground. The gale fell on the earth wall, blowing the mud on the surface of the earth wall everywhere. The entire arena was full of flying sand and rocks, frost was pervasive, and the wind was howling. The moment the gale ceased, Haku, through the translucent ice shield, felt a touch of blue light approaching quickly. Haku's pupils shrank slightly, and he immediately realized that it was Naruto approaching. Rasengan. He only saw Naruto holding a Rasengan, and slammed it on the semicircular ice shield of Haku. Boom 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 boom. The ice shield shattered instantly. Haku, who was inside the semicircular ice shield, also shattered with the ice shield. Obviously this is not Haku's body, but an ice-style clone. But under Naruto's observation Haki perception, the location of Haku's body is exposed. Just as Naruto turned around quickly and kicked a roundhouse kick behind him, he caught a glimpse of a cold light attacking from the side out of the corner of his eye. Naruto's action suddenly paused, and he hurriedly dodged to the side. A ninja sword grazed his trouser leg and slashed past. It was Izumi Uchiha who came to kill. Izumi Uchiha, who did not succeed in one blow, turned the tip of the sword in her hand and turned to Haku behind Naruto. The ninja sword quickly stabbed forward, and the tip of the sword went straight to Haku's throat. Ice-style mirror weapon body. A layer of frost enveloped Haku's entire body, and the ninja sword stabbed on the frost. This blow splashed out a few lumps of ice slag, but did not pierce the ice layer. The cold chill, even more, climbed up the blade continuously. Izumi Uchiha reacted quickly, and it was not a problem for her to seal with one hand, fire style, great fireball. The fire style, great fireball. Spit out from her mouth hit Haku head-on. Directly knocked Haku's entire person out. The cold air climbing along the blade was also dispersed by the high-temperature flames. Haku, who was flying backwards, stabilized his figure in midair and landed steadily on the ground. The layer of frost covering the skin was melted by the high temperature. The whole person looked wet, as if it had been fished out of the water. Ice-style super 1,000 flying water needles. Haku whispered softly. Both of his hands slapped hard. The surrounding air quickly condensed into thousands of ice needles. The dense ice needles were so many that they made people's scalp numb, and at the same time attracted the attention of Izumi Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki. What an exaggerated ninjutsu, this is already considered an A-level ninjutsu, right? Izumi Uchiha raised her eyebrows, very surprised, and quickly became alert. Haku is starting to get serious. Naruto's expression showed a trace of solemnity. Whoosh 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 whoosh, the dense thousands of ice needles, the momentum of flying out of the sky, is like a pouring rain. Some ice needles are stuck in the ground, even the solid ground, are deeply penetrated by the ice needles by 10 centimeters. Moreover, the ice needles were still emitting a chilling cold, frosting the ground. Even the ground under their feet could be pierced. Not to mention the fragile human skin. Izumi Uchiha decisively stuck the ninja sword into the ground, her hands quickly forming seals, fire style, majestic flame annihilation. The sea of flames she spat out not only wanted to block Haku's ninjutsu attack, but also wanted to engulf both Haku and Naruto. At the same time, Naruto also clapped his hands together, wind style, Naruto Uzumaki style, chakra never exhausted, super, vacuum cereal sphere. Naruto took a deep breath and spat out wind clusters with a diameter of 2 to 3 centimeters. In just 1 second, he spat out hundreds of wind clusters, like a fully automatic wind-style machine gun. One after another, the wind clusters collided with the flames and ice needles. First, it shattered the surging sea of flames, and then shattered the ice needles that were shot at them. The sea of fire and the ice needles cancelled each other out, and steam continuously filled the stage. The scene was spectacular. Everyone was dumbfounded watching this scene. Is this still a battle between 3 Genin? Even a battle between 3 Chunin wouldn't be so outrageous, right? Many Chunin from Hidden Leaf Village in the audience were somewhat ashamed. Because they found, if they were on the stage, they might not be able to beat these 3 little kids. Even facing the attacks of 3 different but powerful ninjutsu. This group of Hidden Leaf Village Chunin had no confidence that they could block it. If they were facing such a wide range of attacks, they would just turn around and run, so as not to be affected by the ninjutsu. But these 3 little kids actually chose to use the same wide-range ninjutsu to bombard the opponent's ninjutsu. This led to a very spectacular scene on the stage. Wind clusters, ice needles, sea of fire. The 3 combined to form a beautiful and dangerous picture. 3 very powerful children. Hayashi Hyuga, with his Byakugan eyes wide open, took everything in, using such a wide range of ninjutsu, the chakra in their bodies hasn't even consumed half. In his line of sight, he could see the flow of chakra in the 3 little kids. Among them, Haku had the least chakra, followed by Izumi Uchiha, and finally Naruto Uzumaki. Especially Naruto Uzumaki, Hayashi Hyuga found that this child's chakra was outrageously large. He has a huge amount of chakra without borrowing the power of the tailed beast. Is this the unique talent of the Uzumaki clan? My goodness, are the children nowadays so outrageous? Okimeki Chauza was amazed. Were we this powerful when we were so young? Yamanaka Inoyachi shook his head, not to mention being only 7 years old. Even when we were 13 or 14, we weren't this powerful. Yamanaka Inoyachi sighed. This is the future of the ninja world. He didn't say it was the future of Hidden Leaf Village. Because the 3 children in the field, although one is a genin from Hidden Leaf Village, and one is the orphan of the 4th Hokage. But, are they sure they belong to Hidden Leaf Village? Yamanaka Inoyachi couldn't guarantee. Nara Shikaku said, the 3 children together, even I feel tricky. Each of them can stand alone. To become a Chunin, you must have the ability to stand alone. Obviously all 3 of them have it. Shikaku sighed. If only my lazy son could be half as outstanding as they are, but that brat is lazy all day long. Ah. Aku. Shikamaru sneezed involuntarily, rubbing his nose in confusion. Could it be the cold air from Haku's ice style that has reached me? Yuzuka Kiba, sitting next to Shikamaru, was dumbfounded. Are they really students from the Ninja Academy? Are they my classmates? Neji Hyuga murmured to himself. Indeed, Haku hid his true strength in the previous 2 battles. Only Naruto Uzumaki and Izumi Uchiha can force him to go all out. Neji couldn't help but look down at his own palms. Do his hands have the qualification to make Haku go all out? Naruto. You're amazing. Hinata was shocked by the scene before her. Karen smiled slightly. Hinata, if you want to catch up with Naruto, you'll have to work even harder in the future. Hinata was taken aback, then nodded vigorously. Yes. I will. Karen, after the exam today, let's continue our special training together. Hinata looked at Karen. Karen's smile deepened. Sure. On the high platform. Saratobi Hiruzen had clenched his fists, but he had to suppress his negative emotions, lest Whitebeard notice. He couldn't help it. The amazing talent displayed by Naruto and Izumi made it hard for him to sit still. Originally, both Naruto Uzumaki and Izumi Uchiha were from Hidden Leaf Village. They were his, Saratobi Hiruzen's. If Saratobi Hiruzen were to personally train these 2 children, one day, these 2 children will definitely be the pillars of Hidden Leaf Village's future. Perhaps, the 5th Hokage or the 6th Hokage will be born among these 2 children. But ever since Whitebeard stepped in, the 2 most talented children of the younger generation in the village have been taken away by Whitebeard. Soon, the commotion on the final stage began to gradually dissipate. Thousands of ice needles had been exhausted, Izumi's mouth was a bit hot, and Naruto's lips were almost numb. And the ring had been completely destroyed. If you didn't know, you would think that Whitebeard had used his Quake Fruit ability to shatter the entire ring. Huff. Naruto exhaled heavily, suddenly grinned, and said to the 2 people in front of him. Sister Izumi, Haku. You 2 go together. Izumi Uchiha and Haku seemed to realize something in an instant. After all 3 of them are family, and they know each other well. What Naruto wants to do, they knew as soon as they thought about it. Izumi and Miku looked at each other and immediately stood on the same line. Without hesitation. And at this moment, Naruto said in his heart, "Big Fox, lend me some power." "Stinky brat, you need to borrow even for a fight?" Kurama grumbled dissatisfiedly. But still lent it. Chapter 220, Whitebeard interested in tailed beasts. Gain in fight, earth-shattering. The massive tailed beast chakra from Kurama spread out from the ceiling space and poured into Naruto's meridians. Compared to Kurama's own vast chakra, it just borrowed a bit of power for Naruto, and all the veins in Naruto's body were swollen. A bit of tailed beast power is a billion for humans. The power of the tailed beast chakra seeps out of the skin. Even on Naruto's body surface, it began to emerge. The rolling orange-red chakra was visible to the naked eye. Under the fluctuation of the tailed beast chakra, Naruto's hair began to slowly flutter. Some of the human features on his body were affected by this power. Naruto's 10 fingernails began to become sharp. A pair of normal eyes were transformed into a pair of vertical pupils. With a bit of the ferocity of a beast. The 3 whisker marks on his cheeks became clearer, and even the 4 fangs grew a little longer. 2 tails formed by chakra sprouted from Naruto's tailbone. The orange-red chakra coat has wrapped Naruto's entire body. The 2 tails stirred the surrounding air, causing the air to twist and vibrate. The ground under Naruto's feet began to crack inch by inch, and even some small stones, under the influence of the tailed beast chakra, slowly floated up. A wicked and cold power enveloped the entire final venue, making everyone present feel a chill. Also at this moment, whether it was the Hidden Leaf Village civilians in the audience, or the Hidden Leaf Village ninjas, or the foreign village ninjas, ninja school students, or Saratobe Hiruzen on the high platform, the shocked look on their faces all looked so consistent. Is this the chakra of the 9 tails? Saratobe Hiruzen's face changed. The scene of the 9 tails chaos a few years ago was vivid in his mind. He instinctively thought Naruto was out of control. But the next second he found that Naruto's state was unprecedentedly normal. Although Naruto burst out with chakra that didn't belong to him, such a chakra was both evil and cold, but Naruto showed no signs of losing his sanity, nor any signs of losing control. Saratobe Hiruzen's eyes widened a bit, and he immediately thought of a possibility that shocked him. Can Naruto perfectly borrow the power of the tailed beast? The last one who could perfectly borrow the power of the 9 tails was Kushina, Naruto's mother. Doesn't this mean? Has Naruto now become a perfect Jinchuriki? No, not a perfect Jinchuriki. Saratobe Hiruzen quickly shook his head, because he found that there were only 2 tails behind Naruto, and the 9 tails had 9 tails. According to his understanding of Jinchuriki, a perfect Jinchuriki can transform into the true form of the tailed beast, but Naruto did not transform into the true form of the 9 tails. This shouldn't be a perfect Jinchuriki. Saratobe Hiruzen was heartbroken. Such a talented child, who can also borrow the power of the 9 tails. Just handed over to the Whitebeard pirates, and has nothing to do with Hidden Leaf Village. For a moment, Saratobe Hiruzen wondered if he was a sinner of Hidden Leaf Village. The 4th Hokage's child and the 9 tails were all given to the Whitebeard pirates. No Hokage could have done this, right? Of course, for someone like him, such a thought only flashed through his mind for a second before he dismissed it. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr blushing. Whitebeard couldn't help but marvel. The nine-tails fox is very powerful, there's no such outrageous creature on the sea. It's said that there are 9 such tailed beasts in the entire shinobi world. Can the Whitebeard pirates snatch them all? Whitebeard still remembers that the Mizukage of Hidden Mist Village is also a Jinchuriki, who can transform into a very ugly giant turtle. That giant turtle should also be a tailed beast. How does it feel that compared to this fox? That turtle is so weak? Whitebeard wondered. Aren't they all tailed beasts? Whitebeard suddenly became very interested in the tailed beasts. If Whitebeard could keep all 9 tailed beasts, could he distribute the tailed beasts to his children's? Would his children's, who possess the power of the tailed beasts, quickly grow into pirates who can hold their own? Whitebeard thought this was quite feasible. But how to find those tailed beasts? Speaking of which, that giant turtle was blown up by him using the power of the devil fruit and hockey. Has the shinobi world lost a tailed beast? Whitebeard couldn't help but fall into thought. This is... Neji Hyuga's pupils contracted. In his Byakugan vision, Naruto seemed to have turned into a terrifying giant beast. Looking around, there was a surge of evil chakra. This was the first time Neji saw Naruto in his half-tailed beast form. Seeing Naruto in this form, he felt like he was suffocating. If he fought Naruto, he would definitely not be his opponent. The demon fox. It's the Nine-Tails demon fox. Mizukai's eyes were filled with terror, and he was sweating profusely. Naruto. Iruka's eyes widened. His parents died on the night of the Nine Tails chaos. His feelings for Naruto were very complicated. Seeing Naruto use the power of the Nine Tails, did Iruka harbor hatred in his heart? Naturally, he did. But he found his hatred was not directed at Naruto, but purely at the monster inside Naruto. Iruka knew very well how terrifying this monster was. He swallowed hard. Naruto, is he okay like this? No problem. From the side, Uzumaki Karen's voice rang out. Sultaf Naruto and the Nine Tails relationship are not good, it is not too bad either. Karen continued. Naruto will definitely be able to control this power. Gulp Shikamaru also swallowed. Isn't his too exaggerated? Is he really the same age as us? Hayashi Hyuga's eyes narrowed. Half-tailed beast transformation? 2 tails? And Naruto Uzumaki can still keep his sanity. This child is really not simple, as expected of 4th Hokage's son. Hey, are you kidding me? Yamanaka Inoyachi's stiff face finally couldn't hold back. This kid used the power of the Nine Tails? This is just the Chunin exam. Narashikaku pondered. There's no movement from Hokage-sama. It seems Hokage-sama must have also discovered that Naruto Uzumaki can control the power of the tailed beast. Naruto, you little brat, you're too reckless. At the edge of the finals arena, Jiraiya appeared out of nowhere. Jiraiya muttered. I just came over to watch the excitement, and you gave me such a surprise. Jiraiya's eyebrows furrowed slightly. Because he remembered, if the power of the tailed beast was used too frequently, would it loosen the seal of the tailed beast? What an astonishing pressure. On the stage, Izumi Uchiha and Haku stood together, the two standing in a straight line. Izumi had already clenched her ninja sword, her pair of Sharingan, all widened a bit. The terrifying chakra fluctuations that erupted from Naruto blew her clothes and hair dancing. Izumi Uchiha was quite tongue-tied. Is this the power of the Nine Tails? It's so strong. And it's really outrageous. Sister Izumi, when Naruto enters the semi-tailed beast state, his power, speed, reaction, perception will all be amplified several times. Moreover, it becomes more powerful with the increase in the number of tails. Haku, who understood Naruto's semi-tailed beast state better, explained, in this form, although Naruto can maintain his sanity, he will tend to have a kind of beast-like wildness. That is to say, Naruto's next attack will become very straightforward, and he will not adopt some exquisite techniques. Is that so? Izumi nodded. Clear. It was also at this moment, Naruto moved. With a bang, a round cloud of dust emerged from the ground, and the ground under his feet was shattered by Naruto. Naruto's figure disappeared instantly. Be careful. The first to react was Izumi Uchiha. Under her 3 Tomoe Sharingan super dynamic vision, Naruto's trajectory was captured by her. She saw Naruto, like a hunting fox, rushing towards them on all fours. Izumi Uchiha first pushed Haku away, and then she also dodged to the side. After dodging Naruto's pounce, Izumi Uchiha quickly formed seals, fire-style Phoenix Fire Jutsu. Haku also immediately reacted. What was unbelievable was that he was forming seals with both hands. The seals formed by the 2 hands were completely different. Ice-style freezing capsule. Haku spat out a small ice ball. Ice-style ice-binding feet. Suddenly a layer of frost climbed up under Naruto's feet, and in the blink of an eye, Naruto's 2 feet were frozen into 2 ice cubes. The ice ball spat out from his mouth landed on Naruto. The ice ball emitted an extremely cold chill, and instantly froze Naruto's entire body into an ice sculpture. Izumi Uchiha's Phoenix Fire Jutsu also followed closely. 5 groups of flames all fell on the ice sculpture that trapped Naruto. Immediately there were 5 booming noises. The flames exploded. Wait. Izumi Uchiha's pupils shrank. It didn't work. Because when the flames dissipated, she found that the 2 tails behind Naruto were twisted together like a shield. That is to say, all the fireballs of her Phoenix Fire Jutsu were blocked. Crack the ice that froze Naruto began to show cracks. The next second, the layer of frost on Naruto shattered. Naruto slowly turned around, the smile on his face was very strange. There was a bit of Naruto's confident sunshine. And there was a bit of eerie coldness. Be careful. Izumi. Haku. After Naruto reminded them, he actually clasped his hands together, and in the semi-tailed beast state, Naruto began to form seals quickly. Haku's eyes widened, he was shocked. Could it be that Naruto has already become familiar with the semi-tailed beast state? Haku remembered that Naruto was easily influenced by the Nine Tails the first few times he used the power of the Nine Tails, and even he can't use ninjutsu smoothly, but this time, Naruto was obviously different from the previous times. He seemed to have exposed a wrong piece of information to Izumi Uchiha. Wind-style wind-cutting technique. Under the terrifying blessing of the Nine Tails chakra, The wind blade that Naruto spat out was outrageously large. The wind blade has spread from one end of the stage to the other. Izumi Uchiha's hair stood on end as she forcefully slapped the ground with both palms, earth style, earth flow wall. Haiku did exactly the same, ice style, great ice wall. Suddenly, a 10-meter-high earthen wall and an 8-meter-high ice wall overlapped and fused together. The resulting wall was 5 to 6 meters thick. At that moment, Naruto's wind cutter technique landed on this solid wall. Swish! The solid wall was instantly cut in half horizontally. Fortunately, Izumi and Haiku quickly squatted down behind the wall, otherwise they would definitely be affected. The exaggerated wind cutter technique didn't lose its momentum and hit the wall at the edge of the arena. Bang bang bang! The people in the audience felt their chairs and the ground start to shake violently. Fortunately, this ninjutsu had already been weakened by Izumi and Haiku. Even so, the wind blade still left a shocking gap a meter deep in the wall at the edge of the arena. Like a swordsman strike on the high seas. You go left, I go right. Izumi Uchiha immediately said. Understood. Haiku responded. Izumi quickly moved to Naruto's right side. She took a deep breath. Her 3 Tomoe Sharingan slowly rotated. This is the Sharingan teleportation jutsu that Brother Shizue taught me. It's my first time using it in actual combat. Suddenly, Izumi Uchiha's figure split into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8. And so on. Until there were hundreds of her. Haiku had already moved to Naruto's left side. He held a kunai in his left hand, a kunai in his right hand, and even bit a kunai in his mouth. What was even more surprising was that each kunai was tied with an explosive tag, and the explosive tags were slowly burning. Haiku threw the kunai in his left and right hands upwards, clasped his hands together, squeezed out the remaining chakra in his body, and quickly formed seals, ice style, 1,000 flying water needles of death. He used this ninjutsu again, but this time the scale was not so large. Dozens of ice needles flew out. In the process of flying, the ice needles collided with the 2 kunai that Haiku had thrown, taking the kunai with them. Haiku then took the kunai out of his mouth, and suddenly slapped the ground with both hands. Sharp ice surged from the center of his palms. A hole was drilled in the ground. On the other side, hundreds of Izumi Uchiha, each holding a ninja sword, attacked Naruto. Each move, each technique, was aimed directly at Naruto's weak points. Naruto dodged an incoming ninja sword and punched at one of the Izumi Uchiha, but his punch hit thin air. Even though Naruto's observation haki felt that Izumi Uchiha was right there, it turned out that this was not Izumi Uchiha's real body. This made Naruto pause for a moment. Ice needles and kunai were also flying from another direction at the same time. Naruto immediately sensed a vague sense of crisis. He raised his hand to block his left side, and the 2 chakra tails behind him also stretched to the left. Dozens of ice needles fell on Naruto's tail and arm. But they were actually deflected. It wasn't until 2 kunai with explosive tags appeared in the corner of Naruto's eye. Naruto's pupil shrank. It turned out that the crisis sensed by observation haki was not these ice needles, but these 2 explosive tags. Boom. Boom. 2 explosions sounded at the same time, enveloping Naruto's body. The next moment, an ice block drilled out from under Naruto's feet. Inside the ice, there was a kunai with explosive tags wrapped around it. Boom. Another explosion sounded. A small figure could be seen rushing out of the explosion's flames, seemingly blown into the air by the blast wave. Seeing this, Izumi Uchiha, who was densely packed, jumped up instantly, and the Uchiha sword technique was fully displayed in her hands. The shadows of the swords were heavy. In a short moment, Naruto's body was slashed several times by the ninja sword, and many wounds appeared on his body. But what was unbelievable was, his wounds were visibly healing, even the places injured by the explosive tags. Just as Izumi Uchiha was about to slash at Naruto's back, Naruto, who was in midair, forcibly twisted his body. He reached out and grabbed Izumi Uchiha's sword. Izumi's pupil shrank slightly, sharing an instant body technique. Was it seen through by observation haki? Sister Izumi, your instant body technique is much worse than Shizue's. And I found that you have a habit of attacking, which is to like to attack from behind me. Naruto grinned, the palm of his hand holding the sword blade, not only covered with 9 tails chakra, but also entwined with armament haki. Crack. With a crisp sound, the ninja sword in Izumi Uchiha's hand was actually crushed by Naruto's single hand. In a Chunin exam, Izumi Uchiha broke both ninja swords. Izumi was startled, because she found that Naruto had already reached out to her. Although her 3 Tomoe Sharingan saw through Naruto's trajectory. But her body's reaction was not as fast as the Sharingans. Izumi Uchiha was grabbed by Naruto's arm. Their bodies were falling rapidly. Just as they were about to land, Naruto punched at Izumi. This punch came very swiftly and powerfully. Izumi Uchiha, who was grabbed by Naruto's arm, couldn't dodge at all. Damn. Izumi Uchiha's actions finally caught up with her Sharingan's reaction. She hurriedly propped up her arm, and blocked Naruto's attack trajectory with her bent arm. But the next moment, there was a crackling sound of fracture from her bent arm. Her forearm was directly broken by Naruto's punch. Izumi Uchiha groaned. The pain came instantly. Of course, this kind of injury is commonplace for the sons and daughters of Whitebeard. They sometimes get more serious injuries during special training. Fractures to them. It's not even a minor injury. Naruto's strong force threw Izumi Uchiha out completely. Izumi's body fell heavily on the ground, and rolled on the ground for more than a dozen circles. When Naruto landed, suddenly, Haku's figure appeared behind him. Haku jumped high, raised his foot and made a downward chop. A heavy foot smashed on Naruto's neck. The extraordinary power made Naruto's legs involuntarily bend down. Naruto grabbed Haku's ankle with one hand, and smashed Haku down to the ground. Fortunately, Haku reacted in time, hurriedly propped up the ground with both hands, and rolled several times to unload the force. Taking advantage of this great opportunity, Naruto quickly formed seals with both hands, and shouted loudly, "Wind-style tornado hurricane." This is a ninjutsu that Naruto learned from the Kakashi version Wind-style scroll collection given to him by Kakashi. An invisible airflow began to gather at the center of the arena, spinning at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, a tornado was formed. In just a few seconds, the tornado had grown to an unimaginable size, its powerful suction devouring everything around it. All the sand, kunai, shuriken, ice cubes in the arena were swept up by the tornado. Even Izumi Uchiha and Haku were no exception. They were directly swept into the tornado. What was shocking was that the size of the tornado was still growing, with no sign of stopping. In just 10 seconds, it had devolved into the scale of a small natural disaster. It even began to affect the people in the audience. Whoa! A civilian from Hidden Leaf Village screamed, hastily grabbing the chair under his butt. Because the suction of the tornado was constantly pulling him up. His feet were already off the ground. Even his wig was sucked away. Naruto, this guy, is too reckless. Shikamaru was scared and quickly hugged Choji. But soon, he found that Choji's body was actually floating. Shikamaru was sweating coldly. He hurriedly said, "Choji. Multi-size technique. Use the multi-size jutsu." Chapter 221, Whitebeard makes a move. Is this man's physique comparable to a tailed beast? Choji, who was lifted off the ground by the terrifying suction of the tornado, finally reacted. But by the time he wanted to use the family secret jutsu, it was already too late. Choji, and Shikamaru hiding behind Choji, both let out continuous cries of panic, and were swept up by the tornado. "Hinata, Ino, Sakura, hide behind me." Karen immediately formed seals with both hands. She could only protect so many people. Water-style, water wall formation. Karen spat out a puddle of water, and the water formed a hollow cylindrical barrier around her. All four girls squeezed into the cylindrical water barrier. The strong suction of the tornado even made the water flow of the barrier surge. Ha! Karen let out a light shout. The massive chakra unique to the Uzumaki clan, crazily poured into this water-style ninjutsu. The scale of the water wall formation suddenly grew a lot out of thin air, and it blocked the surging suction of the tornado. But the people next to her were not so lucky. In Yuzuka Kiba and Akamaru, Aburamshi no, they were swept up just like Shikamaru and Choji. Iruka's face changed dramatically at the same time, and he also hurriedly used ninjutsu to try to protect himself and some people around him as much as possible. Mizuki was scared and his face turned a little pale. He immediately slapped the ground hard with both hands, earth-style, hiding like a mole jutsu. A crack appeared on the ground under his feet. His whole body drilled into the ground, with only one head sticking out. He wanted to use this method to avoid being sucked up by the incredibly exaggerated tornado. As for the people next to him, including his students and some civilians, Mizuki ignored them all. He didn't have Iruka's boundless love, he just wanted to save his own life. This led to all the students brought by Mizuki being swept up. Even Neji Hyuga was no exception. "It seems like I used too much force. And, the scroll that Uncle Kakashi gave me didn't tell me how to end this ninjutsu." Naruto stared dumbfounded at the increasingly large tornado. The special terrain inside the finals arena seemed to be the best breeding ground for the tornado. Naruto clearly didn't have more tailed beast chakra inside. But the tornado was getting bigger and bigger. Even Naruto's footsteps couldn't move forward. He was affected by the suction. Hey. Isn't his too exaggerated? How am I supposed to save people? The examiner who was judging at the edge of the stage was dumbfounded at this moment. He looked at the surging tornado, and for a while, he didn't even know where to start. It seems to be still within control. Hayashi Hyuga, with his Byakugan open, could see the situation inside the tornado. He saw that the people who were swept into it didn't suffer too much damage, most of them were just dizzy and vomiting crazily. The continuous screams and shouts were not because they were hurt and shouting out, but because they were scared by this situation. After all, anyone would be afraid if they were swept into a huge tornado, fearing that they would be stirred into pieces. How can Naruto use such a large-scale ninjutsu in the final stage? This has already affected the people in the audience. Jiraiya's face changed. But he didn't stop it, but looked at the third Hokage on the high platform. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face also changed. He didn't expect Naruto to use such a large-scale ninjutsu. So many people were swept into the tornado, the entire final stage was a mess, and the screams of horror were continuous. This means this not-so-successful Chunin exam can't even draw a perfect full stop at the end. Sarutobi Hiruzen reasonably suspected that this was Naruto's intention. Naruto deliberately wanted him to be unable to have this political achievement. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that it was not very good for him to conspire against a child like this. But he always had a strong sense of déjà vu. But soon, Sarutobi Hiruzen thought of another layer. Can he, the third Hokage, take action in time? To save some villagers and ninja school students? To recover a bit of the damaged image? He thinks this is very feasible, so not only can the villagers love him more, but also break some conspiracy theories, and reshape his image. It's too chaotic. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately tightened his face and created the serious momentum of the Hidden Leaf Village Hokage. Just as he was about to stand up and stop this ninjutsu, he found that a shadow had enveloped his body. He opened his eyes and turned his head to see, and found that Whitebeard next to him was slowly standing up from the big chair. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr son, don't use the tricks you just learned before you practice them. Whitebeard's words sounded a bit reproachful, but there was no hint of reproach on his face. On the contrary, there was a smile of relief on his face. Whitebeard was very satisfied with the rapid growth of his sons and daughters. And, for pirates, as long as they don't kill. No matter how big the noise is, it doesn't matter. The noise made by Whitebeard when he was training his children was much bigger than the noise of Naruto's ninjutsu. Pops, do you need me to take action? Kisame asked. Gorrrr. Let me stretch my muscles. Whitebeard grinned, the white crescent beard on his lips trembled in the howling wind. Whitebeard didn't pick up the Murakamagiri that was next to him. Nor did he use his devil fruit ability. He didn't use hockey at all. Surprisingly, like a ninja about to release wind-style ninjutsu, he took a deep breath first. Whitebeard's entire chest swelled up, visually, his upper body seemed to have grown significantly larger. The next second, Whitebeard, from a distance of about 20 to 30 meters, exhaled a breath towards the front. Ho! Initially, a casual breath from Whitebeard could instantly extinguish the fire-style ninjutsu of the Uchiha clan. A slightly charged breath from him could even extinguish the magma of a certain magma boy. Now, a breath that he had been charging for several seconds was even more terrifying. Clearly, Whitebeard is not a ninja, he doesn't know wind-style ninjutsu, and he doesn't have chakra in his body. But when Whitebeard blew hard forward, the raging wind he blew out was no less than an exaggerated wind-style ninjutsu. The wind even carried a strong scent of alcohol. Obviously, Whitebeard had drunk quite a bit of strong liquor before he came here early this morning. Under the howling wind, even Saratobe Hiruzen, who was standing by, couldn't help but change his face. Saratobe Hiruzen hurriedly stretched out a hand, blocking it on his side. His other hand also quickly pressed down on his Hokage hat. And Kisame, who was next to Whitebeard, also immediately steadied his body, took off the big sword Saimata he was carrying on his back, and heavily planted it on the ground. Uzumaki Fuashi's hands surged out 2 golden chains, the chains deeply buried into the ground, but they were also quickly straightened by the wind. Shishui, although blind, knew what had happened based on his observation hockey and some words he had just heard. Shishui appropriately hid behind Kisame. One hand grabbed Kisame's arm, so as not to be blown away by Pop's breath. It's amazing. Pop's body is as terrifying as a tailed beast. Kisame's face was full of excitement and excitement. He once again had the urge to fight Pops. In fact, since joining the Whitebeard Pirates, Kisame has actually challenged Pops several times in a row. But every time he was beaten badly. However, Kisame was not discouraged. He was the type to become more courageous the more setbacks he faced. Every time he was beaten up by Pops, he would turn failure into motivation. One of the reasons Kisame joined the Whitebeard Pirates was to be able to challenge a man like Pops at any time. Saratobe Hiruzen, on the other hand, looked at Whitebeard next to him with a face full of inexplicable horror. Is he a human, or a tailed beast that has turned into a human? Is this something a human body can do? Actually, Saratobe Hiruzen is also a kind of superhuman ninja. Don't look at his small size and short stature. But he can easily carry the Inma that has turned into a huge stick, and can wield the stick that weighs a ton. But if he were to do the same like Whitebeard, without using any chakra, just blowing out a breath, blowing away a small mouse might be his limit. But what about Whitebeard? Under Saratobe Hiruzen's gaze, the raging wind blown out by Whitebeard's breath was visible to the naked eye. The rolling air wave rushed towards the front, destroying everything in its path. It hit the tornado directly. The raging tornado was swept over by another howling wind in the opposite direction, and the rotation speed of the tornado actually slowed down. Is it Pops? Naruto quickly turned his head towards the high platform. Just then, Naruto's feet were deeply rooted in the ground, and the two tails made of chakra behind him were also stuck in the ground. This was to prevent him from being swept up by the tornado. It's Whitebeard. Mijiki, who only had his head sticking out, was also shocked to see the wind spit out by Whitebeard. The visible wind had no trace of chakra fluctuation in it, but it hit the tornado like a rampaging beast. Iruka also saw this scene. He couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Is this an A-level wind-style ninjutsu? Wasn't it said that this man can't use ninjutsu? Or... Iruka suddenly thought of a possibility that he found somewhat unbelievable, or this is not ninjutsu, but a wind directly blown out from his mouth? Whitebeard indeed cannot be understood by common sense. Hayashi Hyuga's Byakugan saw it most clearly. He could tell that this was indeed a normal wind, and not a wind-style ninjutsu used by Whitebeard. Because of this, the expression on Hayashi Hyuga's face was so shocked. How strong must a person's physique be to be able to blow out a force comparable to a level wind-style ninjutsu in one breath? Could this be a physique comparable to a tailed beast? Such an amazing physique, such a large body, and a strange vibration ability, as well as a special aura that can stun people. Such a strong man. Does he have any weaknesses? Hayashi Hyuga was very shocked. It seems that the old man has no chance to make a move. Jiraiya shook his head. He gave his teacher a chance, so he didn't make a move just now. This is already Jiraiya's benevolence. But unexpectedly, Saratobe Hiruzen did not seize the opportunity given to him by Jiraiya. Under Jiraiya's gaze, the rotation speed of the tornado began to slow down, and its size also became smaller and smaller. Originally, the tornado had grown to at least 30 meters high, and the largest diameter was probably nearly 10 meters. But now, the tornado has shrunk to only a dozen meters high. Its wind power is no longer enough to suck people in. Even, the wind power is not enough to keep the people sucked in suspended. The group of people who were swept into the tornado and kept screaming in panic began to fall rapidly. Those with good luck fell from a height of a few meters. Those with bad luck fell from a height of 30 meters. Big Fox. Naruto, who knew he had accidentally caused trouble, immediately shouted at the nine tails in the ceiling space. Stupid kid, I'm not your nanny to clean up the mess. Damn. Kurama scolded Naruto, but his body was very honest. Because Naruto borrowed chakra more frequently, the probability of it, the nine tails, leaving the ceiling space became greater. Kurama could even see that the seal paper in the ceiling space was already shaky. And Naruto, who borrowed a wave of tailed beast chakra again, instantly extended one after another orange-red chakra energy arm from his body. Countless chakra arms quickly surged towards the tornado. At the critical moment, all the people who were about to fall were caught. One after another Hidden Leaf Village civilians, one after another ninja school students, and even many Hidden Leaf Village geinin who were swept in, were all caught by the chakra arms that drilled out of Naruto's body. Izumi Uchiha and Haku, who were first swept into it, were also the same. I'm alive. Nara Shikamaru, who was dizzy and pale, said this sentence with a trembling voice. I was spinning so much. I almost had my soul thrown out. After saying this, Shikamaru's pale face suddenly changed, and his mouth bulged. The next moment, he could no longer hold on, and hurriedly opened his mouth. Ugh. Blarg. Ugh. Blarg. Shikamaru vomited out everything he ate this morning. Obviously, he is not alone. The number of people caught by the chakra arm is as many as 200 to 300. At least 90% of these 200 to 300 people were dizzy. Those with better luck passed out directly, and those with worse luck, like Shikamaru, vomited in front of many people. Even the always aloof Neji hurriedly covered his mouth. Neji desperately holding back the urge to vomit. 200 to 300 people, almost vomiting together, the scene is quite spectacular. But the audience didn't have time to watch any jokes, because they were also affected by the tornado and were a bit embarrassed. Many of them were almost swept up by the tornado. Soon, the tornado that was slowing down finally stopped. The gale of the entire final venue finally stopped. Ha. Izumi Uchiha could only use deep breathing to relieve the urge to bend over and retch. She helplessly opened her eyes and looked at Naruto, sighed slightly. It seems that compared with the 3 Tomoe Sharingan and the power of the tailed beast, it is still a lot inferior. Of course, Izumi Uchiha will not be discouraged because of a failure in a battle. Moreover, she didn't lose to any enemy, she lost to her own family. What is there to be discouraged about? Even the stronger Naruto's strength, Izumi Uchiha is even a little happy. Because Naruto is the captain of the first division of the Whitebeard Pirates. He is also the first face of the Whitebeard Pirates. Sure enough, it makes sense for Pops to let Naruto be the captain of the first division of the pirates. Haku murmured, we are not opponents 2-1. Although Haku did not watch Naruto become stronger all the way, he also watched Naruto become stronger halfway. Naruto's talent is something Haku can't catch up with. However, Haku is not jealous. How can family members jealous of another family member's achievements? At the same time, when Naruto carefully put everyone on the ground, Akin Yuzukaki beheld Akamaru. Both of them knelt on the ground and vomited, and then he stubbornly raised his head and looked at Naruto. Naruto you guy, you even rolled us audience in Doduk. Woof woof woof. Ahahaha. My bad. Naruto scratched his head awkwardly. I didn't know that the power of this ninjutsu is so great, and I don't know that this ninjutsu is so uncontrollable. On the high platform, Sarutobe Hiruzen looked at Naruto who had caught everyone. His mood was not ordinary complex. His only performance opportunity was messed up by the Whitebeard Pirates. He should have saved everyone as the 3rd Hokage. But, he didn't expect Whitebeard to take action to resolve the wind-style ninjutsu, and then Naruto took action and caught everyone. The 3rd Hokage just watched everything happen. The important thing is that his behavior of watching without doing anything was seen by many people. Sarutobe Hiruzen's face turned a little green. As if you can imagine, after today, how the village will discuss him. But no matter how upset he is in his heart, no matter how suffocated he has to squeeze out a smile. Sarutobe Hiruzen had a grateful tone and thanked Whitebeard enthusiastically. Thank you, Whitebeard, for your timely action, otherwise there will definitely be casualties. Sarutobe Hiruzen, who said this sentence, wished he could slap himself and angrily scolded himself for not being able to be more assertive. But he couldn't help it, he couldn't be tough, he was willing but powerless. Unexpectedly, Whitebeard ignored him once again. As if he, the 3rd Hokage, did not exist. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr throughout the entire final venue, little ninja. Why haven't you announced the winner of the match? In that case, let the Whitebeard Pirates announce it. The final winner of the third round of the Chunin exam is the captain of the first team of the Whitebeard Pirates, Naruto Uzumaki. Remember this name. This is my idiot son. One day, his name will echo through the ninja world and the underworld. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr everyone was shocked. All the fears in their hearts were hooked out. Chapter 222, The Art of the Third Hokage's Compromise with Whitebeard. Obito reappears. The final winner of the third round of the Chunin exam is Naruto Uzumaki. This result is beyond doubt. No one in the entire final venue will object to this result. Because this is a sentence shouted out by Whitebeard. The conqueror's haki that enveloped the entire final venue, although very slight, also made everyone present feel a heavy heart. This man's aura is still as terrifying as ever. He just said a few words, and people can't help but sweat in their palms. Hayashi Hyuga wiped the sweat from his palm. He recalled the night when Whitebeard was at the Hyuga clan's residence. That night, Whitebeard's terrifying aura enveloped the entire Hyuga clan's residence. That night, there were no more than 10 people awake in the Hyuga clan. Hokage-sama seems to have been motionless next to Whitebeard. Okimeki Chauza couldn't help but mutter, "This feeling, it's so strange." Okimeki Chauza didn't say too much. The euphemistic meaning of his words is, how does Hokage-sama feel like a useless next to Whitebeard? Why doesn't he show a bit of the feeling that a Hokage should have? Indeed, apart from the first few minutes when Saratobe Hiruzen arrived at the final venue, where he had a bit of a glamorous image and aura. After that period of time, he became like a mouse. All the reasons seem to be because of Whitebeard's appearance. Yamanaka Inoichi and Nara Shikaku, these two old partners, naturally knew what Okimeki Chauza wanted to say. Yamanaka Inoichi thought for a while. He said uncertainly, maybe. Hokage-sama has his own considerations in it? Shikaku, what do you think? Yamanaka Inoichi looked at Nara Shikaku. Narashikaku gave a bitter smile. What else can I think? Hokage-sama, he doesn't want to conflict with Whitebeard, right? Their words were all very flattering for Sarutobi Hiruzen. After all, there are quite a few people around here, and they are the heads of 3 ninja clans, so some things are not suitable to be said here. In short, Sarutobi Hiruzen's indifference today has made the people in the village feel that he has lost his fangs. If a Hokage loses the fangs that a Hokage should have, then some people below him will naturally come up with some small ideas that they didn't have before. Sarutobi Hiruzen understands this. But if he shows his fangs in front of Whitebeard, won't his fangs be broken by Whitebeard's punch in the next second? Jiraiya, hiding in the corner, watched all this happen, and he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that no one was affected by the wind-style ninjutsu and lost their lives. In Jiraiya's eyes, as long as no lives are lost, there is no big problem. As for what kind of situation the old man is in? That can only be his own fault. Jiraiya feels that he can't help much. Is this Whitebeard's momentum? Jiraiya couldn't help but squint his eyes, and he murmured with emotion, I remember that he didn't burst out such an amazing momentum that day. What Jiraiya referred to was the day when Whitebeard attacked Orochimaru. At that time, Whitebeard only used swordsmanship and vibration power. Jiraiya felt that some of the information about Whitebeard in his hands could be updated a little bit. This is also one of his habits. When encountering more powerful people, Jiraiya will habitually record their character traits, ability traits, and shortcomings. In short, everything that can be recorded will be recorded in his intelligence notebook. In case the other party becomes an enemy in the future, then he will have the method and ability to counteract it at that time. This Chunin exam is hastily over. For Hidden Leaf Village, this Chunin exam is a complete failure. From the beginning, the Chunin exam was derailed from Sarutobi Hiruzen's plan because of the intrusion of the Whitebeard pirates. In the middle, as Naruto tied up a group of people, the direction of the Chunin exam completely let go of itself and was not controlled by Sarutobi Hiruzen. In the end, the entire final venue was almost destroyed by Naruto. Sarutobi Hiruzen could see that many spectators on the spectator stand had a look of lingering fear but dared not say anything. Sarutobi Hiruzen fell into silence. As time passed, he watched one Hidden Leaf Village civilian leave slowly after another, watched one foreign village Jonin say goodbye to him, the Hokage, and then started to leave, silently watched the ninjas in the village and the ninja school students also leave one after another. In the end, even the people of the Whitebeard pirates didn't stay here any longer. Sarutobi Hiruzen sat in the chair in a daze. It took more than half an hour. Until, the messy final venue was completely silent, he came back to his senses in a daze. Sarutobi Hiruzen's gaze wandered left and right. He found that the only people standing beside him now were the group of ninjas he brought and the examiners. Sarutobi Hiruzen stood up shakily from the chair, feeling as if he had aged several years. Hokage-sama, the Chunin exam has ended. Seeing the third Hokage, who had been stunned for a long time, finally stood up, Kakashi, whose feet were almost numb from standing, took a step forward. With his dead fish eyes open, Kakashi reminded Sarutobi Hiruzen, Hokage-sama, the candidates and the audience have all left. According to the process of the Chunin exam, we should now discuss who can be promoted to Chunin. I know. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath, his gaze sweeping over the group of people in front of him. These people are the backbone of Hidden Leaf Village. More than half of them are his, Sarutobi Hiruzen's, staunch forces, so these people have been standing here without leaving. The other small half of the ninjas stayed here because of work needs. Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly swept away the gloom on his face. He knew very well that he absolutely could not show these people his desolate side. Cough. Sarutobi Hiruzen slowly squeezed out a smile. I don't have much idea for the time being, why don't everyone discuss it freely? A group of examiners, and ninjas, and ninjas from the Sarutobi clan looked at each other. Hokage-sama, I think Hidden Mist Village's Chojuro, Hidden Leaf Village's Izumi Uchiha. Cough. Hidden Grass Village's Naruto Uzumaki, Haku, Sasuke Uchiha all qualify to become Chunin. The person speaking was actually Kurenai. Kurenai put her hand on her hip. She was the first to propose. These children have proven that they have the strength to become Chunin. A Jonin from the Sarutobi clan shook his head. Not quite right. Chunin not only has to look at strength, but also has to look at comprehensive conditions. If a ninja only has pure strength, but does not have the qualities that a leader should have, then he is not qualified to become Chunin. I think, Sasuke Uchiha, Chojuro, these two candidates do not have the qualities of a leader. The former is a bit like a follower of Naruto Uzumaki and Haku, the latter is too introverted and shy, and too silent. Kakashi suddenly spoke, I don't know about the others, but I think Naruto Uzumaki, Izumi Uchiha, and Haku have enough strength to serve as Chunin and have the ability to stand alone. He usually doesn't participate in discussions like this. When he opened his mouth, he attracted the attention of many people. Hokage-sama, I think the three of them can all become Chunin, but not Hidden Grass Village's Chunin. Kakashi continued, we can issue them Hidden Leaf Village's Chunin vest. Oh? Kurenai was startled. Izumi Uchiha is fine, but weren't Naruto Uzumaki and Haku participating in the name of Hidden Grass Village Ninja? Kakashi explained, because this is just a small trick they use to participate in the Chunin exam. I know Naruto Uzumaki better, his life dream is to become Hokage. If he becomes a Chunin of Hidden Leaf Village, that would fulfill his wish. Moreover, Naruto is the orphan of the fourth Hokage, no one is more qualified to become a Chunin of Hidden Leaf Village than him. An examiner stroked his chin and said, would Hidden Grass Village agree? Kakashi replied. The leaders of Hidden Grass Village have to listen to Naruto. Instead of wondering whether Hidden Grass Village will agree, you might as well think about whether Naruto will agree. The scene fell silent for a moment, everyone was silently thinking. They found that what Kakashi said made some sense. If Naruto aims to be the Hokage of Hidden Leaf Village, then giving Naruto a Hidden Leaf Village forehead protector and a Hidden Leaf Village Chunin vest seems completely reasonable, right? Even recording the name Naruto Uzumaki in the Chunin Ninja roster of Hidden Leaf Village doesn't seem to be a big problem, right? After all, he is the son of the fourth Hokage. Naruto Uzumaki, Haku, Izumi Uchiha. Kurenai pointed out a key point, they are either Whitebeard's adopted sons or Whitebeard's adopted daughters. Kurenai paused, she said. Strictly speaking, they are pirates. Kakashi, with his dead fish eyes open, continued to say. Isn't that just right? We can take this opportunity to build a good relationship with the Whitebeard pirates? In the end, everyone present turned their eyes on Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage. From the reaction of these ninjas, they seemed to agree with Kakashi's statement. But the final decision still has to be made by Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen listened to everything they discussed. Emotionally, he felt Kakashi's proposal was too absurd. Naruto, in order to participate in the Chunin exam, would rather go to great lengths to get a gain in identity from Hidden Grass Village, rather than ask him, the Hokage grandfather. After the Chunin exam, he, the Hokage, has to lick his face and hand over the Chunin vest of Hidden Leaf Village to Naruto? Rationally, he felt Kakashi's proposal is the optimal solution. Although Naruto's bond with him has been severed, Naruto should have feelings for Hidden Leaf Village, otherwise Naruto would not want to become Hokage. Giving Naruto the identity of Hidden Leaf Village Chunin, Naruto would not refuse. As for Hidden Grass Village, it's just a puppet of the Whitebeard pirates. Naruto's say is bigger than that of Kazuya Sarazawa. The problem is, this kind of optimal decision is not thought out by him, the Hokage, but by Kakashi. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at Kakashi without leaving a trace. He somewhat doubted whether Kakashi was in collusion with Naruto. Naruto first took advantage of the loopholes in the Chunin exam to participate in the Chunin exam, and then Kakashi proposed to let Naruto become a Chunin of Hidden Leaf Village at this time. No matter how you look at it seems that Kakashi is leaning towards Naruto. And not leaning towards him, the Hokage. And he thought that he still didn't know who revealed Naruto's origin to him. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes narrowed. He was even more suspicious of Kakashi. Once the seed of doubt is planted, he even doesn't want Kakashi to continue to stay in the Anbu. What if Kakashi is no longer loyal to him, the Hokage? In a short moment, thousands of thoughts flashed through Sarutobi Hiruzen's mind. He finally chose rationality. And chose to compromise. Let it be. The few who passed this Chunin exam are Naruto Uzumaki, Haku, and Izumi Uchiha. Sarutobi Hiruzen's old voice said. There is another. In Yuzuka Hana. I think she can also pass. Although she lost to Izumi Uchiha, she showed superior qualities of a ninja during the battle. I appreciate this child very much. Sarutobi Hiruzen can't let all the people who passed the Chunin exam be from the Whitebeard pirates. In Yuzuka Hana is a child of the Yuzuka clan. Although her relationship with Izumi Uchiha is very good, she is not Whitebeard's daughter after all. This is enough. Sarutobi Hiruzen added. Haku has nothing to do with Hidden Leaf Village. It is not suitable to arrange for him the identity of Hidden Leaf Village Chunin, just arrange for Naruto alone. You can suggest to the leader of Hidden Grass Village to give him the identity of Hidden Grass Village Chunin. He doesn't want a person from the Whitebeard pirates who has nothing to do with Hidden Leaf Village to join the ninja team of Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto and Izumi, these two people have a deep relationship with Hidden Leaf Village. Only Haku has nothing to do with Hidden Leaf Village. This is the most hardline attitude that Sarutobi Hiruzen can show. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He, the Hokage of Hidden Leaf Village, is too pitiful. Fourth Hokage, you left me a big mess. Meanwhile, Hidden Leaf Village prison. Today, the things that happened in the Chunin exam were quickly passed to Denzo through the mouth of the root ninja. That little brat Naruto Uzumaki, he is already able to use the power of the tailed beast? Denzo narrowed his eyes and snorted. Humphrey. If I were the Hokage of Hidden Leaf Village, I would never let the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki fall into the hands of Whitebeard. Denzo was somewhat annoyed at Sarutobi Hiruzen's weakness. He felt that Sarutobi Hiruzen's weakness would only make Hidden Leaf Village bow their heads and retreat step by step in front of the Whitebeard pirates. But, the failure of the Chunin exam is not a bad thing, at least not for me. Denzo sneered with schadenfreude. That monkey wants to use the Chunin exam for his political achievements. He, who would have thought that a Chunin exam would directly ruin his reputation. And this is the Chunin exam that he led, no one else can be blamed except him. Yes. The third Hokage is really unlucky. A strange voice suddenly sounded from behind Denzo. Ever since he met Whitebeard, he hasn't had a smooth day, has he? TSK, aren't you the same, Shimura Denzo? Are you laughing at others here while you're not much better? Haha, you little guys are really funny. Ha ha ha. The strange voice's sneer made Denzo's pupil shrink. The few root members who were his personal guards and were following Denzo also reacted immediately. They instantly locked their gaze in one direction. The root members immediately drew their ninja swords, all protecting Denzo's surroundings, vigilantly watching the mysterious person who suddenly appeared. Denzo was also turning the wheelchair under him. And turned around. Akatsuki? Denzo felt that no one in the entire Hidden Leaf Village was more familiar with that red cloud black robe than him. Because, back then, it was him who teamed up with Hanzo of Hidden Rain Village to severely pit the Akatsuki organization at that time. And killed a guy named Yahiko. Denzo couldn't help but tense up in his heart. Because he thought of those special eyes, in Denzo's cognition, those were eyes as powerful as the Mengekyo Sharingan. Back then, a little devil in the Akatsuki organization used those special eyes to use an unprecedented and very terrifying eye technique, which directly scared him away. Denzo knew that if he had run a little slower back then, he might already be a corpse. It is precisely because of this that when he saw a member of the Akatsuki organization appear in front of him openly, Denzo was so shocked. Even his psychological shadow was almost hooked out. But Denzo is Denzo after all. He quickly suppressed the emotional waves that surged in his heart. Denzo's face was full of the gloom. What kind of person are you in the Akatsuki organization? Are you, who are wearing a mask, afraid of seeing the light? I'm afraid of the light? Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. The mysterious masked man laughed wildly. This laughter seemed to echo throughout the entire Hidden Leaf Village prison. After he finished laughing, only one eye that was exposed, the line of sight collided with Denzo's line of sight in midair. I am worried that once this face of mine is revealed, you will be scared to death on the spot. The mysterious masked man's one eye turned blood red. And a weird and evil pattern appeared. This change made Denzo's eyes widen a bit. Mengekyo Sharingan? The inherently evil Uchiha clan? Wait. Denzo suddenly thought of something. Uchiha with Mengekyo Sharingan plus Akatsuki's red cloud black robe plus a strange mask that only reveals one eye. Denzo took a cold breath in his heart, his palm tightly gripped the wheelchair, his tone was uncontrollably horrified. Madara Uchiha. Associating the name Madara Uchiha with these characteristics is because the noise made by Obito on the night of the Uchiha massacre was so great that his dress was known to Hidden Leaf Village early. He called himself Madara Uchiha, which is not a secret among the higher-ups of Hidden Leaf Village. Oh? It seems you recognize me. Obito pretended to pinch his old hoarse voice. If you didn't know, you would think he was a 100-year-old grandpa. Realizing the identity of the other party, Denzo became more vigilant, and he immediately asked several questions on the spot. Are you really Madara Uchiha? What is your purpose for coming here? How many people in the Akatsuki organization have infiltrated Hidden Leaf Village? Also, Denzo gritted his teeth and hated, wishing to tear this self-proclaimed Madara Uchiha mysterious masked man to pieces. Was the Sharingan of the Uchiha taken away by you bastard? You little brat, you talk a lot. Obito sneered coldly. I don't need to answer some of your useless questions. As for whether I am really Madara Uchiha. Hey. Doesn't this eye explain everything? Obito pointed at his own Mengekyo Sharingan. He slowly walked towards Denzo, stopping only when he was 3 meters in front of Denzo. Ignoring the few root ninjas, Obito said arrogantly. I came to Hidden Leaf Village this time to give you an opportunity to cooperate with me. Oh, opportunity? This word, too arrogant. It made Denzo stunned. Chapter 223, The Psychological Shadow Whitebeard Caused Obito. Obito wants his other eye. In his life, Denzo has seen many arrogant people, and Whitebeard is one of them. But he felt that even Whitebeard was not as arrogant as the bastard in front of him. Just a few short sentences from the other party had almost made him explode with anger. Under the large emotional fluctuations, Denzo's expression became somewhat distorted, and his nostrils and eyes widened a lot. The wheelchair armrest that he was gripping tightly even showed a few fine cracks. Denzo gritted his teeth and said word by word. If you want to cooperate with me, you need to prove yourself. Go. Denzo directly ordered. I want to see whether this self-proclaimed Madara Uchiha is really Madara Uchiha. Humphrey. Don't think that just because you have a Mangekyo Sharingan, you can pretend to be Madara Uchiha. There are more than one of you in the ninja world who have Mangekyo Sharingan. Under Denzo's command, 3 of the 4 root ninjas who were protecting his safety immediately rushed towards Obito. The remaining 1 root ninja is protecting Denzo's safety. The root ninjas who are qualified to protect Denzo are naturally not weak. They were all trained by Denzo himself. The weakest are all at the level of Special Jonin. The 3 root ninjas were very tacit. They launched rounds of attacks on Obito from 3 different directions, holding ninja swords. It's useless, it's useless. Under the super dynamic visual response of the Mangekyo Sharingan, the actions of the 3 root ninjas seemed to be slowed down by 10 or 20 times in Obito's eyes. He just took a step back and dodged the attacks of 2 root ninjas. Then he leaned back slightly. While Obito dodged the attack of the 3rd root ninja, he kicked out towards the front without hesitation. Pew! The root ninja who was hit by this kick felt as if his chest had been trampled by a beast, and his entire body quickly flew backwards. He flew out more than 10 meters, and hit the prison wall hard, making a shallow dent in the wall. This root ninja even spat out another mouthful of blood. The root mask on his face slid down. Be careful. He clutched his chest and reminded his companions with difficulty. This guy is very strong. Seeing this, the other 2 root ninjas immediately distanced themselves from Obito. One on the left and one on the right. Both hands quickly formed seals. Fire-style gas flame bullet. One of the root ninjas, while forming seals, opened a small bottle, and the small bottle was overflowing with invisible and colorless gas. When this root ninja opened his mouth and spat in Obito's direction, the raging flames squeezed the prison corridor full. Wind-style wind-assisting fire technique. Another root ninja used a not high-level wind-style ninjutsu, but such a wind-style ninjutsu made the fire-style ninjutsu used by another root ninja go up several floors in power. The raging flames, with a wind, scorched everything. The steel prison bars on both sides of the corridor were all roasted red and hot by the flames, and even a lot of molten iron dripped down. Obito Uchiha, who was in that position, had nowhere to hide. Behind him was a dead end, on both sides were 2 prisons, and in front was a surge of flames rushing straight at him. There's no way, it's useless. However, the expression under Obito's mask showed no panic at all. He was still repeating such a sentence. Obito put his hands together. He slapped directly with force. Facing the onslaught of the surging flames, he just calmly uttered this sentence, wood-style fire prevention forest. In an instant, the ground under his feet began to tremble slightly, the ground gradually cracked, and trees drilled out from the ground. And, in the blink of an eye, a very large and solid wooden wall had formed. The surging flames roasted the trees that had sprung up from the ground to a charred black. But the trees did not catch fire. Because these strange trees were secreting a large amount of sap from their bark, this sap collided with the flames and rose up in clouds of steam. When the flames gradually dissipated, a very conspicuous wooden wall appeared in front of everyone, which also made Denzo's pupil shrink slightly. Wood style? In Denzo's memory, would that legendary Madara Uchiha know wood style? Definitely not. But time has passed so long, even he has mastered wood style through some special methods. If the other party is really the legendary Madara Uchiha, perhaps the other party also has special methods to master the wood style of the first Hokage? After all, the real Madara Uchiha is the archenemy of the first Hokage. No one knows the wood style of the first Hokage better than Madara Uchiha. At this time, a gap suddenly opened in the middle of the wooden wall. Obito walked out slowly from inside. His palms were already in the posture of forming seals. One of his eyes was staring at Denzo, who was sitting in the wheelchair. Not good. The other 2 Anbu ninjas immediately reacted. Protect Denzo-sama. Wind-style wind wall. Fire-style round fire feather fan. In front of one of the Anbu ninjas, a wind wall emerged, and in front of the other Anbu ninja, a fire wall emerged. Also at this time, Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan slowly rotated, fire-style Kamui explosion wind dance. The space in front of Obito was showing a slight distortion. He opened his mouth and spat out, and a flame spurted out. Under the drive of the space distortion, the flame surged forward in a rotating manner. The speed of the flame was extremely fast. Wherever the flames passed, whether it was the ground under his feet, the walls around him, or the prison bars, they were all torn to pieces. Boom boom boom. Explosion wind dance collided with two defensive ninjutsu. Under the distortion of fire style and space eye technique, they couldn't defend against Obito's explosion wind dance. The two defensive ninjutsu collapsed instantly. The surging flames directly rolled these two root ninjas into it. Their clothes burst instantly. Their skin suffered severe burns. Hissa! They who fell to the ground let out a few screams. Damn bastard. Enough. Suddenly, Denzo stopped the root ninja who wanted to stand up and fight the other party. He glanced at the three embarrassed root ninjas. Three of you can't even take down one person, and get beaten so embarrassed, aren't you ashamed? The three root ninjas quickly stood up. They endured the pain of their injuries, knelt down on one knee to Denzo. Please punish us, Denzo-sama. Humphrey. Go find the root medical ninja to heal your wounds. Denzo said coldly. If it were usual, he would have killed these three embarrassing guys long ago. But there's no way. In the past 1 or 2 years, the roots member have been reduced. The rate of attrition has far exceeded the rate of new recruits. This left Denzo with no choice but to keep these three wastes, otherwise, he really wouldn't have anyone to use. Having said this, Denzo slowly shifted his gaze to Obito. He glanced without a trace at the mess in the prison corridor, and a few points of fear and vigilance flashed in his eyes. Regardless of whether the other party is really Madara Uchiha, just looking at the power that the other party has shown. This guy is indeed a good partner, and it's not good to reject such a person. Especially when he has lost both legs. Since you claim to be Madara Uchiha, then I will treat you as Madara Uchiha. Denzo said expressionlessly. If you want to cooperate, you have to put away your high and mighty attitude, otherwise, get out of my sight. Hee hee, the kids these days, they really don't have manners. Obito sneered coldly, and pieces of wood surged under his feet, and the wood gradually built up a wooden chair. Obito just sat on this wooden chair in a big way. He even arrogantly crossed his legs and looked at Denzo, who was sitting in a wheelchair, with his eyes level. I need your root to do something for me. Obito got straight to the point, without selling any guanzi, and said, I want Kakashi Hatake's eye. His left eye. Denzo. Who Kakashi Hatake is, Denzo naturally couldn't possibly not know. The other party was once a famous genius ninja in Hidden Leaf Village. But he heard that after a series of setbacks, the guy was a bit discouraged. From a genius ninja in Hidden Leaf Village, he became a silent Hokage's dog. Especially Kakashi Hatake's father, Denzo is very familiar with him. The other party was once the famous Hidden Leaf Village White Fang. At that time, negative comments about Sakamo Hatake were circulating in the village, some of which were added by Denzo. Because at that time, the most popular candidate for the new Hokage was Sakamo Hatake. How could Denzo let people snatch the position he coveted? It's just that Denzo didn't expect that after all his hard work, everything he did ended up as Minato no Mikage's dowry. This always makes Denzo feel that he was calculated by that bastard monkey. That monkey used his power to clear Sakamo Hatake. Then, he can let Minato no Mikage, who is supported by him, take the position. After a round of calculations, neither Sakamo Hatake nor Shimura Denzo had the opportunity to become the fourth Hokage of Hidden Leaf Village. Of course, Denzo thinks so, but there is actually no evidence. He just intuitively believes that things are like this. With his understanding of the monkey, that bastard must be able to do such a thing. With various thoughts and memories flashing in his mind, Denzo squinted his eyes, and he asked Obito, what use do you want Kakashi Hatake's eyes for? That's just a 3-Tomoe Sharingan, right? You. On the night of the Uchiha clan's extermination, you took away a lot of 3-Tomoe from the Uchiha, didn't you? As soon as this matter was mentioned, Denzo was irritated again. Because on the night of the extermination, he was completely busy for nothing, and he didn't get any benefits. Even lost a few lives. Because the few root ninjas he sent to dig out eyes have not returned to this day. He might have already become fertilizer for the earth. Hee hee. What use I have for Kakashi Hatake's eye is none of your concern, little brat. Obito couldn't possibly tell Denzo that he needed Kakashi's eye to complete the double eye kami. Ever since he was beaten by Whitebeard, Obito, who had always been very confident in his strength, began to doubt his own power. What if he faced Whitebeard again in the future, or encountered an enemy as strong as Whitebeard? Wouldn't he lack the ability to defeat them? The beginning of his self-doubt about his strength made Obito desperately need more power, so he thought of Kakashi's eye. He, who only had one Mengekyo Sharingan, was able to hold his own against Whitebeard for so long. If he had two Mangekyo Sharingan, could he suppress Whitebeard? Obito, who had already been psychologically shadowed by Whitebeard, held this thought and once again sneaked into Hidden Leaf Village. But this time, he didn't openly run to dig out Kakashi's eye. Because Obito was still a bit scared of Whitebeard. He felt that if he appeared openly, he would likely be noticed by Whitebeard. So, he found Denzo. He wanted to use the power of Denzo's root to quietly bring back Kakashi's eye. In short, Obito thought he had to be undetected. He couldn't let the Whitebeard pirates find out. Obito took out a cloth bag from his bosom, and with his movement, the objects inside the bag made a crisp collision sound. He saw Obito take out a glass bottle from the bag. And he boldly presented the glass bottle in front of Denzo. This is a Sharingan. Denzo's breath began to hitch because he saw a lifelike Sharingan in the not-so-large glass bottle. He immediately glared at the Madara Uchiha in front of him. It's indeed you, this damned bastard, who took all the Sharingan away. These are all things of Hidden Leaf Village, you shameless thief. Obito ignored Denzo's impotent rage. His hoarse old voice echoed, there are 7 small bottles in this bag, and each small bottle has a Sharingan. 7 Sharingan for Kakashi's 1 Sharingan, this is a very cost-effective deal, and a very cost-effective cooperation. Isn't it? Denzo's angry face gradually fell into silence. He was weighing the pros and cons of this matter. Is it a good deal to sacrifice Kakashi Hatake for 7 Sharingan? This question only filtered through his mind once. And he came up with an answer. This is too cost-effective. Denzo and Kakashi Hatake are not relatives. And in the information controlled by Denzo, the monkey guy also doesn't trust Kakashi Hatake very much. Because Kakashi is getting a bit close to the Whitebeard pirates. Hiruzen has always been suspecting whether it was Kakashi who quietly revealed Naruto Uzumaki's background to Naruto Uzumaki. In the end, it led to his disgrace as the 3rd Hokage. As for Kakashi's so-called closeness to the Whitebeard pirates, it doesn't matter to Denzo. Because Kakashi is not a crew member of the Whitebeard pirates after all. That's enough. 14 Sharingan. Denzo didn't know why this Madara Uchiha didn't do it himself, but since the other party wanted to cooperate with him, there must be some bargaining. 10. Obito appeared very generous. On the night of the Uchiha clan's extermination, he harvested quite a few Sharingan. 10. Denzo thought about it, and he felt it was within an acceptable range. If there were 10 Sharingan, he could transplant all these Sharingan onto his arm, so that his strength would definitely improve, and he would have more confidence when facing Whitebeard. The main thing is to face Whitebeard, and have the ability to run away at that time. That's the point. He nodded, deal. Hee. Obito laughed, and he threw a Sharingan to Denzo casually. Denzo was so surprised that he hurriedly reached out to catch it, so as not to drop the Sharingan on the ground. So as not to break the Sharingan. This Sharingan is considered as the deposit for our cooperation. Obito said, when your root is ready to take the eye, I will appear. I will be watching your actions in the dark in Hidden Leaf Village. After saying this, Obito stretched out a hand and gently brushed it over his body. The next moment, his body began to slowly twist. Under Denzo's astonished gaze, Obito just disappeared in the Hidden Leaf Village prison. I didn't perceive any breath, he really disappeared. What kind of ability is this? Is it his Mangekyo ability? Denzo's eyes flashed with a few points of fear. Is this guy really Madara Uchiha? Is Madara Uchiha really still alive? Denzo shook his head, swept away the distractions in his heart, and said to the root ninja who had been protecting him by his side, call all the people from the root in Hidden Leaf Village, I will have a task to explain to them later. The code name of this task is Hunting Operation of White Fang's Son. Kakashi didn't know why, but his back was a bit cold today. At this moment, Kakashi has already left the Chunin exam finals. Because it was getting dark, Kakashi, as an Anbu ninja, was off work. Strange. Kakashi opened a dead fish eye, he frowned, and looked around quite suspiciously. But nothing was found. No one was tracking him in the dark, but he just had a bad feeling. Could it be that guy and Kisame, those 2 guys, are planning to prank me again? Thinking of this, Kakashi sighed helplessly, let me go, why are they so energetic? Kakashi, who was wandering aimlessly on the streets of Hidden Leaf Village in the evening, touched his empty stomach. Maybe I should find a place to have some dinner. Just as Kakashi was holding his stomach and forgetting to look at the road for a while, he suddenly heard a cold voice in front of him, if you don't look up again, you're going to run into it. Kakashi looked up in surprise, and he found that it was a ninja from Hidden Rain Village. But the other party is not the Jonin team leader of Hidden Rain Village. Oh. I remember, it should be the Hidden Rain Village ninja Jonin who came to redeem people with ransom. Sorry. Kakashi apologized casually, and then bypassed the other party. But at this moment, the other party's cold and pleasant voice rang again. "You are the copy ninja Kakashi Hatake from Hidden Leaf Village? Your white hair and mask are quite recognizable," Kakashi said without turning his head. "No, you've got the wrong person." Konan silently watched Kakashi's retreating figure. She thought he was a pretty good candidate, as the Akatsuki was a bit short of people recently. Unfortunately, Kakashi Hatake's relationship with Hidden Leaf Village was too good. It would be nice if he was a rogue ninja from Hidden Leaf Village. Chapter 224, Kisame, Kakashi, acknowledge Whitebeard Pops as your father. Kakashi's request. At night, Kakashi had finished dinner and returned to the Jonin single apartment in Hidden Leaf Village. But the ominous premonition lingering in his heart did not dissipate. This made Kakashi's brows furrow slightly. Kakashi thought for a moment. He set up a small trap at his door. Once someone touched this small trap, more than a dozen nearly invisible kunai would instantly pierce the person's body. At that time, the noise at the door would also alert him. Kakashi bathed and cleaned as usual in the apartment. Until it was time to go to bed. Nothing strange had happened yet. This made Kakashi somewhat doubt. Was he a bit too nervous? Was he thinking too much? Strange. Kakashi shook his head. He turned off the light in the room, walked to the bed, and sat on the soft bed. The moonlight outside the window came in, just shining on a broken sword placed on the bedside table. Kakashi's gaze was quite complicated, because this broken sword was his father's relic. The sword was not broken by his father Sakamo Hatake, but Kakashi broke this ninja sword relic in a battle. Kakashi sighed, spoke to the sword. "So many years have passed, I am already an adult. In fact, I have long forgiven you for leaving me alone." Kakashi picked up the broken sword, his thumb against the hilt, gently pushed the hilt, and the blade appeared in front of him. Originally, this ninja sword had a blade length of 30 centimeters. But now, it only has 10 centimeters of blade length. If you have to use it, maybe it can only be a fruit knife. Just as Kakashi was about to put down his father's relic and prepare to go to bed, his eyes suddenly widened in surprise. Because he saw the moonlight outside the window was covered by a shadow. Although it only covered a corner, it aroused his vigilance. Kakashi instantly grabbed a shuriken from the ninja tools bag next to him, and without looking back, he quickly threw it out the window. Puff! The shuriken firmly stuck in the wall of a building in the distance. A small bat was struggling constantly. Kakashi turned around and looked out the window, his brows deeply furrowed. A bat? Not a person. But he remembered the bad premonition during the day. Huh. Kakashi exhaled. Forget it, don't sleep tonight. Kakashi has carried out various tasks in the ninja world over the years, and he has also participated in the Third Ninja War. He himself can't count how many ninjas he has offended. It's not guaranteed that some people who have a grudge against him will sneak into Hidden Leaf Village and want to assassinate him, Kakashi Hatake. This kind of thing has happened before. A few years ago Kakashi had encountered it. At the same time, on a rooftop 100 meters away from the Jonin single apartment, behind a water tank, a root ninja with a dewy mask was hiding. But this mask is not a root mask, but a mask he wears casually to conceal his identity. Such keen perception, as expected of the famous Kakashi Hatake. Cold sweat dripped from the face beneath the mask of the root ninja. He held his arm that was scratched by the shuriken. Fortunately, I caught a bat in time to cover it up. The actions of the root would naturally not be so rash. This root ninja was sent to investigate Kakashi's daily whereabouts. Even he didn't expect. He almost discovered by Kakashi. The root ninja simply used a not very skilled medical ninjutsu for his injured arm, and then carefully poked half of his head out from behind the water tank. The root ninja wanted to continue observing the situation on Kakashi's side. But as soon as he looked over, he realized something was wrong. The root ninja frowned, and the expression under the mask was somewhat puzzled. Strange, why is he sitting on the bed motionless? Wait. Suddenly, the root ninja was startled. Could it be, that's a clone? Earth-style double suicide decapitation jutsu. A palm drilled out from under the root ninja's feet. The palm grabbed the root ninja's ankle in one hand, and directly pulled him down with force. Damn. The root ninja's face changed drastically, but his reaction was also very timely. He had a senbon in his mouth, and immediately spit it out towards his feet. Whoosh! The sharp senbon broke through the air and was about to stab the hand that grabbed his ankle. At the critical moment, the hand quickly let go, and the senbon deeply pierced the cement ground of the rooftop. Realizing that he had been discovered, the root ninja hesitated to throw several smoke bombs at his feet, and jumped up, and used a ninjutsu against the bottom with his hands sealed. Lightning-style lightning ball technique. The root ninja spat out a lightning ball, and the lightning ball fell straight on the rooftop below. Suddenly, a series of dazzling electric arcs enveloped the entire rooftop below. The root ninja did not want to fight, he turned around and ran without hesitation. His ninjutsu is obviously just to delay Kakashi. When the dazzling lightning on the rooftop and the diffuse smoke gradually dissipated, Kakashi only then drilled out from the ground. Kakashi, who was only wearing a set of pajamas, stepped on a pair of cotton slippers, and stood quietly here. His face was full of uncertain, lightning-style ninjutsu. Kakashi looked at the back of the person going away. In his sight, the person's back was already small, no different from a sesame seed. Kakashi shook his head. It's too far. It seems that I can't catch up. That guy doesn't seem like any enemy of mine, otherwise he wouldn't need to run. Shouldn't an enemy who sees me come out, fight me to death? If it's not an enemy, then who is secretly watching him, Kakashi? Is there anything worth monitoring about me? Kakashi was very puzzled. Is it the Whitebeard pirate group? This strange thought just popped out of Kakashi's mind, and he immediately denied it. Because it's impossible. Moreover, as far as Kakashi knows, there is not one in the Whitebeard pirate group who is good at lightning style. Is it Hokage-sama? Just after a strange thought was dismissed, another strange thought emerged. But this doesn't make sense either. Does Hokage-sama need to send someone to monitor me? Isn't Kakashi a subordinate of Hokage-sama? Kakashi couldn't figure out a reason, so he decided to explain the matter to Hokage-sama tomorrow. However, Kakashi helplessly looked at the messy rooftop, and there was a hole he had just dug under his feet. Looking down through this hole, he could see the tenants below, looking up in terror. Their eyes met. Kakashi felt a bit awkward. You guys go to Hokage-sama for reimbursement tomorrow. Kakashi's scalp was numb. He could only leave quickly after dropping this sentence. The next day, Kakashi arrived at the Hokage office early in the morning. As soon as he saw Sarutobe Hiruzen, he told him all about what happened last night. Sarutobe Hiruzen, who was smoking a pipe, quietly listened to Kakashi recount everything that happened last night. Hokage-sama, it's probably something like this. Kakashi said solemnly. I think the ninja who was watching me last night is not simple. Sarutobe Hiruzen slowly exhaled a puff of second-hand smoke, put the pipe on the table, and looked up at Kakashi. A ninja who is good at lightning style? Kakashi, do you have any suspects? Sarutobe Hiruzen asked. Kakashi shook his head. Hokage-sama, I don't have any suspects for now. I'm not very clear about the other party's purpose. He doesn't seem to want to take my life. The village will help you find out about this. Sarutobe Hiruzen vaguely replied to Kakashi. Then, he said to Kakashi. Kakashi, you have been with me for several years, right? I have an important matter to discuss with you. An important matter? Being secretly trapped and watched by a guy who is suspected to be a jonin, isn't his an important matter? Although Kakashi knew that the life and death of a ninja might not be comparable to some big things in the village. But can't Hokage-sama pay a little attention to him? Even if it's just verbal attention? Although Kakashi didn't say anything, and his eyes didn't show any wrong expression. But his mood must not be good. At this time, Sarutobe Hiruzen said solemnly. Kakashi, the village is short of manpower in all aspects recently. With your talent, you shouldn't just be a squad leader in Anbu, let alone always protect me. I have decided to let you join a department with more arduous tasks, which is also under Anbu. Sarutobe Hiruzen paused after every word, he said astonishingly. That is root. When he finished this sentence, Kakashi was stunned. Root? Kakashi thought for a while, he declined. Hokage-sama, you should arrange me to other departments. Because, I might not get along with Denzo-sama. Sarutobe Hiruzen shook his head. Denzo is no longer managing Root. His previous mistakes are enough for him to stay in Hidden Leaf Village prison for 10 years. Currently, Hidden Leaf Village's Root is managed by Mikado Hamura. Kakashi fell silent. He knew that what Hokage said was all nonsense. Who in the whole Hidden Leaf Village doesn't know? Even if Shimura Denzo has been locked in Hidden Leaf Village prison, most of the people in Root are still loyal to Denzo. Especially some of the older members of the Root, they are only loyal to Denzo, and they don't take Mikado Hamura's orders seriously at all. The third Hokage knew this, but still arranged himself into the Root. Kakashi couldn't understand what the Hokage wanted to do. Where did I offend this Hokage-sama? Kakashi, this is the highest command of the Hokage. Sarutobe Hiruzen pondered, the Root needs talents like you to lead the Root on the right path, don't let me down. Kakashi was silent for a few seconds. Yes, Hokage-sama. Forget it, I'm just a squad leader of Anbu. The man in front of me is the third Hokage of Hidden Leaf Village. In terms of emotion and reason, I must listen to Hokage-sama's orders. Kakashi silently took off the Anbu mask, then put it on Sarutobe Hiruzen's desk, and said, Hokage-sama, I will report to Mikado Hamura-sama in a few days. Well. Go. Saratobi Hiruzen squeezed out a smile. Until Kakashi left the Hokage office and closed the door. When Kakashi's figure disappeared from his sight, the smile that Saratobi Hiruzen squeezed out also converged. Kakashi, don't blame me for neglecting you. Saratobi Hiruzen picked up the pipe on the table, took a puff, and muttered to himself, your recent actions really make it hard for me to trust you. Saratobi Hiruzen will not keep someone he does not trust by his side. Even if that person is very useful. In fact, he didn't know that Denzo and Madara Uchiha had cooperated. Saratobi Hiruzen arranged Kakashi into the route, purely to keep Kakashi away from himself, and also to keep Kakashi away from the core of Hidden Leaf Village. In addition, Kakashi's personality and Denzo's personality are bound to conflict with each other. If the two of them could fight each other in the route. Saratobi Hiruzen is still looking forward to it. At the same time. Outside the building. Kakashi. I'm back. Ha ha ha. What a coincidence. A passionate laughter sounded from Kakashi's side. I just finished a ninja mission outside, and I ran into you coming out of the Hokage building. I saw Might Guy, wearing a Jonin vest, giving Kakashi a thumbs up, and showing a big white teeth. Is this the coincidence of youth and passion? Ha ha ha. Kakashi. Just as the third Hokage kicked him out of Anbu and forcibly stuffed him into the route, he ran into someone who gave him a headache. Last night, I also encountered a mysterious person who was tracking and monitoring me. Does Kakashi feel a bit too unlucky recently? Should I find a temple and worship the gods and Buddhas inside? Kakashi. After I finish the task, let's go find Kisame. When Might Guy quickly walked to Kakashi's side, he took advantage of Kakashi's distraction and bumped his butt over. Kakashi. The butts of two big men collided, and Kakashi was directly bumped by Guy. Kakashi had several black lines on his forehead. Idiot, I'm not in the mood now. Before he finished speaking, Kakashi paused, and he began to look at Might Guy. That look made Guy feel a bit unnatural. Kakashi, what's wrong? Kakashi thought for several seconds. He took a deep breath and said, Guy, can you do me a favor? Oh? Guy's eyes lit up instantly. Of course. Naturally. Absolutely. Kakashi said. You first hand in your ninja mission, and then we go find Kisame. Okay. Guy exhaled 2 puffs of white air. As Kakashi's friend, Guy never wanted to see Kakashi so depressed every day. So, as long as Guy was in Hidden Leaf Village for a day, he would stick to Kakashi like a plaster. The purpose is naturally to let Kakashi recover. At least. To give Kakashi more motivation to live. Now, hearing Kakashi actively asking him for a favor, Guy was immediately excited. He felt that under his unremitting efforts, Kakashi's closed heart finally opened a hole. Kakashi. Wait for me. 10 seconds. Guy's imagined drama moved himself to tears. He patted Kakashi's shoulder heavily. Then he disappeared with a whoosh. Time went from early morning to morning. Today, the weather in Hidden Leaf Village was not very good, and a drizzle began to fall from the sky. At this moment, 3 big men were sitting in a small tavern in Hidden Leaf Village. One was Kakashi, the other was Guy, and the other was Kisame. What? Hokage-sama asked you to join Root? Guy's voice, like a loudspeaker at full volume, even made the sake in the wine glass tremble slightly. Kakashi hurriedly covered his right ear. He helplessly turned to look at Guy next to him. Please lower your voice, everyone in the village knows I'm going to become a Root ninja. Guy didn't care about Kakashi's complaint, he was amazed. How can Hokage-sama just arrange you into Root? Root, that's a place darker than Anbu. Kakashi in Anbu, his eyes have always been dull. If Kakashi ran to Root, which is more extreme than Anbu? Hiss. Guy took a cold breath. He felt that maybe one day, he could see Kakashi's body. And most likely, it was suicide. Root? Kisame Tsuket. I have some impression. I heard it's a sharp blade in the dark of your Hidden Leaf Village. This department is infamous in the ninja world. Speaking of this, Kisame sneered. I also heard Naruto tell me that Hidden Leaf Village's Root once wanted to kill Shizui. Those guys have also had conflicts with the Whitebeard pirates several times. Kisame looked at Kakashi. Kakashi, if you join this so-called Root, maybe we will be enemies in the future. Hearing this, Kakashi had a headache. He has many reasons not to join Root, and this is one of them. Once joining Root, he will inevitably be subject to Denzo's jurisdiction and influence. At that time, if Denzo did something, wouldn't he become an enemy of the Whitebeard pirates? Kakashi, I'll go to Hokage-sama today and get you out of Root. Guy slammed the table and said excitedly. Or, let Hokage-sama also arrange me into Root. Well, I have a suggestion. Kisame suddenly said. Kakashi, why don't you join the Whitebeard pirates? With Pops as your backing, no matter which old guy in Hidden Leaf Village, They wouldn't dare to transfer you to a place you don't want to go. Kakashi. Although Kisame's words sounded a bit outrageous, Kakashi found that this was indeed a good solution. If he recognized Whitebeard as his pops, all complex problems would become simple. No. Why does he always think in this direction? Kakashi quickly threw away this strange idea. He said solemnly, "There is one more thing. I found that I was followed by a strange ninja last night." Kakashi changed the topic and continued, "The other party must be targeting me, but I don't know what his purpose is." Guy, Kisame. Kakashi took a deep breath. "I want to ask for your help." Kakashi doesn't have many real friends. He thinks Kisame and Guy count as two. Chapter 225, Denzo's Limit Operation, attacking Kakashi and Conan at the same time. Reinforcements arrive. Last night, the strange ninja who was secretly watching him was not weak. Kakashi knew that he could not catch up with the other party by himself, so he needed the help of Guy and Kisame. As for the third Hokage? Although the third Hokage promised to help him find out who was tracking him, Kakashi analyzed the attitude and tone of the third Hokage at that time. He thinks the third Hokage just said a bullshit to him. As for whether he will really help him investigate, Kakashi thinks he won't. He doesn't know what he did wrong, causing the third Hokage to distrust him. But Kakashi is too lazy to guess. He doesn't care whether others trust him or not. Since the Hokage doesn't want to keep him, then he will stay away from the Hokage. Kakashi doesn't have such deep loyalty to Sarutobi Hiruzen. The reason why he has been protecting the third Hokage is purely because he has the attitude of a worker. Since the third Hokage didn't want to help him, then he can only go to find his friends, and then deal with the people who are tracking him secretly. Kakashi quickly left the bar. He was not in a hurry to report to Mitakato Hamura, but found an adult bookstore and bought a book that minors cannot buy. Kakashi blushed and looked at the little prince in his hand, and then returned to his Jonin single apartment. During the period, he vaguely felt that someone was following him behind. But no matter what, he couldn't find the other party. It seems that the other party has learned well. In the next few days, Kakashi's work and rest were very regular. Go out for breakfast in the morning, watch the little prince in the morning, go out for lunch at noon, watch the little prince in the afternoon, go out for dinner at night, and finally do a daily health craft activity. During this period, he still did not report to Naruto. Anyway, the time required for job handover is at least 1 week. The third Hokage is not in a hurry. Why is he in a hurry? In these few days, Kakashi's life and work are not only regular, but also on the way out and home. He chose a more remote route,